Hi, my friends. Welcome to Sort of Brilliant, a show where the characters are made up and the sorting absolutely does matter. My name is Rachel.
And I'm her best friend and co-host, Lauren. Every other week, we're going to invade a fandom and determine whether your favorite character belongs in Gryffindor, Hufflepuff, Ravenclaw, or Slytherin.
We're the Harry Potter podcast that talks way more about any other franchise.
Here, we use the sorting structure from Harry Potter as a common language without supporting the author or her beliefs. As for the sorting itself, there's bound to be some arguments along the way.
But in the end, we're always right.
According to us.
According to us.
Hello. I just tried to remember the Star Trek theme and I couldn't. Thank you. I was about to go. Wee.
Wrong stars.
Anyway, hello, welcome. Happy Independence Day. It's the 4th of July today if you're a avid listener and you're listening the day it came out. But we're not here to celebrate America ever. We're here to celebrate not America's ass, but America's cousin's ass. It is Chris Pine. This is also Hannah's birthday episode, and she has blessed me by choosing the Star Trek movies. I'm not a Star Trek fan, but I am a huge fan of these movies. Not because of Chris Pine, but they're also really good movies. And I maybe probably would go watch Star Trek if it wasn't William Shatner. So sorry for that. But
he should apologize, not you.
Yeah, he should apologize. You know what? I was watching the second one, and my dad came up and did that thing where he stood there and then eventually sat down like dads do, you know? And they're like, I'm not going to watch this. And then they're watching it. And I called Shatner a fat old bastard for some reason. And my dad didn't even ask why. He just said, yeah, I know he's a dick. And if I don't even need to explain to my 60-year-old father about William Shatner, then he's a really bad person.
Yeah, he's an old bitch.
Tangent.
When the normies know, that's when you know it's bad.
Happy birthday, America. Happy birthday, Hannah.
Listen, I'm really offended because I thought you were going to say we're celebrating my ass, which is the most important.
I mean, also Hannah's ass.
Also,
I was trying to make a Captain America Chris Pine relation.
Yeah.
Happy birthday!
All the Chris's.
Are they in any movies together?
No.
They should
Chris
be.
Pine hasn't even done Marvel yet. It'll happen one day.
They should do a romantic comedy together.
Yeah, like Andrew Garfield and Florence Pugh are doing for me. They did that for me.
Yes.
Just manifest it, bro.
They did it for bisexuals everywhere.
What? Manifest? Facts. Oh, manifest it. I thought you were like, what did Josh Dallas do for us?
Dude, you want to talk about a show I was super into and then fucking...
Are you guys...
Yeah, eventually. He did the real life thing that we were just talking about with Buffy, where you were like, I condone actors cheating.
Okay.
He did it.
Right. Why are you making me sound like the bad person that I am?
It's only one instance that Rachel agrees
in my youth, I really wanted Sarah Michelle Gellar and David Boreanaz.
You said you still think it's happening now. Don't even try.
And there's a part of my brain, it's like my lizard child brain, that is like, I still want them to be in love because I know they were in love.
Okay, that's... Okay, I can see that. I thought you were just like, Dude. They can get away with it because they're famous. No,
I actually hate cheaters and think they should burn alive.
Same.
But for some reason, when I ship their characters on TV, I'm like, as a little treat to me. Very strange, bizarre stuff. I can see my own faults. Don't, all right?
Listen, sometimes you meet the love of your life while you're married. Look at Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds.
Didn't Ryan Reynolds was cheating on Scarlett Johansson with Sandra Bullock first?
Bro, I don't know.
Damn.
I remember reading that article. This is alleged. I don't know that it was ever proven, but that they actually.
Yeah, sorry, Ryan.
They were
definitely listening to this.
They were having marital problems while he was on the proposal, and there was speculation that he and Sandra Bullock were...
Honestly, Taylor Swift can cheat all she wants.
She keeps writing great songs about it, so we
support women's rights.
I support you. But Taylor Swift is not in Star Trek. That would be weird. Can you imagine?
Wow. I wonder if she likes Star Trek.
Definitely not. She likes Grey's Anatomy.
She watches Game of Thrones. She loves Game of Thrones.
Okay, but that's a different kind. It's the fantasy end of the sci-fi.
Yeah, I don't know if she's a space nerd.
Yeah,
that may be true. But I was surprised she watched Game of Thrones.
I would watch her show up in an episode of something randomly.
We were talking about
like a new girl.
We were talking about if Jensen Ackles had the pull to get into the celebrity tent at a Taylor Swift concert. And my friend was like, I think only if she watched a show that he was in. She was like, otherwise, I don't think he would,
You don't feel like she's watched Supernatural?
That means she watched Stranger Things.
I was going to say she might have.
Because David Harbour was there.
Oh, really? I was like, she might have watched The Boys. Yeah.
The Boys.
Yeah.
She's got to have at least watched one of them.
I bet she watched The Boys.
I feel like she'd be
Pretty
an Annie
heavily
fan.
popular. Yeah.
Anyway, we've talked about everything but Star Trek. I had to slip in the Supernatural. So today we don't know. We were talking about who we're sorting because we were like, wait, who are we sorting? This isn't a franchise or we won't be coming back to the movies. There are only 3 movies. If we come back, I mean, we're not going to come back ever because we're not going to sort these characters again because they'll be the same house.
No. But if they give us more in the 4th one in 2030.
Even though we, for some reason, did Peter Parker 3 times and expected people to be into that. They're completely different. Well, yes, but the Star Trek movies have established that the 60s Star Trek is a different alternate universe to the movie. Like, they established that in movie. So, but we're not going to watch the Shatner show. If anything, maybe Picard or something will happen.
George may push for Discovery. He really might.
Okay, you know what? George can have that because he gets a birthday episode sometimes. So, since we're not coming back to this, we're probably just going to sort everybody who matters, which we're definitely obviously doing Kirk and Spock in oh my God, it just flew out of my head. Hannah was like, make sure you say it this way. No, Uhura.
Oh, Uhura.
Uh-huh. Oh, I just said it fancy.
You said it the nice fancy
I can never do that again.
I'll just copy paste it rest of the episode.
I won't be even making an attempt. Don't get used to that.
So we'll definitely be doing them. And then obviously Leonard McCoy Bones and Scotty probably and Chekov and Sulu, I'm guessing.
Mm-hmm.
I forgot how much I like. Now I can't remember her name. The chick from not Carol, the other girl, the alien girl from the 3rd movie.
From the 3rd movie,
yeah. And they were like, obviously she'll be in the 4th movie that they never made. Let me just talk about the fact that this 4th movie hasn't been made yet.
They've been edging us for
Paramount Pictures. I'm under your bed. You don't even know. There was supposed to be one 3 years later, and then they were like, something happened, never mind. I don't remember when the last one came out, like 2013, 2016.
When Chris Pine was doing press for Dungeons and Dragons, he was like, yeah, I want to make this movie.
I know.
I want to do
so
more
whatever.
of
The last one came out in 2016, then they were like, okay, the next one will be in 2 to 3 years. And then it like just didn't. And then they were like, okay, we figured out the new script. I think it was like a problem with the director because it was like J.J. Abrams and it was other people, blah, blah, blah. J.J. Abrams always going in fucking stuff up. And then people got to go clean it up. And if they don't have Disney money, it's not cleaned up. Anyway, so then they were like, oh, we made the script and it's going to be about Kirk's father gets sucked through a time wormhole and he gets sucked into the future with Kirk, which would be great, right? Who doesn't want a Chris Pine, fucking Chris Hemsworth do a movie? And then Paramount had the audacity to go to these 2 men after all of the Thor movies and all of the stuff that Chris Pine has done, like Princess Diaries 2, and to say, we want to pay you way less than you earn on all of the other shit that you do. Say thank you, come on. And they were like, no! So then they were like, okay, it won't be a Chris Hemsworth movie anymore, but we're definitely making it. It's in production. Everybody's coming back. We're going to start filming this fall. They said that earlier last year. They're going to start coming in this fall. And fucking Carl Urban on Press for the Boys was like, I don't know what they're talking about because I'm shooting Boys season 4 this fall. So I don't know what they mean. And then there's been no news again. Just literally no use.
The director that they had dropped out to do Fantastic Four. So
that sucks. Marvel, fuck you.
So that is why.
But also nobody informed Carl Urban that he was coming back to play Bones.
He's probably contractually obligated to.
I don't know. Their contract has to have run out. How long? Zachary Quinto has said that he will only be Spock 5 times. So they have 2 more movies where they can have Zachary Quinto. I just make the fucking movie. I don't understand. It's all Paramount has.
I don't understand why they wouldn't just invest the money. Like people, like the Chris Hemsworth, Chris Pine combo, they would have made so much money. Like, why wouldn't you just pay them?
Especially if they'd done it when they were planning on doing it, like the 2019. Yep. Like they still would. Oh, yeah. But that was like peak. That was Ragnarok coattails.
And Wonder Woman.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He was in Wonder Woman. Princess Diaries 2 was such an iconic role that sometimes I forget that he's been in like A Wrinkle in Time and all these really great other movies where he's like the lead. Anyway, he's been a lead in a lot of movies, guys, and they're all really good, like Academy level movies.
Has he been in any romantic comedies besides
Princess Diaries 2?
Princess Diaries?
Yeah, he's been in This Is
like
War.
yes.
This Is War with Reese Witherspoon. And her name is
I don't
Lauren.
think I saw that.
And he says Lauren at least 15 times in that movie, and it's great. His name is JKR, or JFK. I'm sorry. He's named after JFK, and they just call him JFK. It's pretty fucking great. He's a secret agent. And
We're devolving fast. So let's bring this back.
are you sure that you want to? I think this is going pretty great.
We're completely on topic.
Going amazing.
We gotta kill some time because
Hannah doesn't think she has anything to say, but
I probably
You've got
will.
plenty. Watch
Maybe I
what
will.
happens. We always think that when we come on
Rachel
here. We're
said
like,
that
That's
after
true.
sending me like 18 screaming texts about divorcing her husband. So I don't know why she thinks she has nothing to say about this movie.
I'm probably going to get riled. It's likely.
We should have brought George in for like a guest segment.
Oh,
yeah.
number one Spock defender. Number one fucking Spock defender.
TJ will come on here and defend angry Spock rights for
Oh my god.
He's like, angry Spock is my favorite character. Specifically, angry Spock.
When he's angry.
Unbelievable.
So when he's about to murder people, yes.
We're going to get into it.
Vulcan bastard.
Hannah, did Kirk cheat on the Kobashi Maru?
Did Kirk?
Yeah. Did he cheat?
Technically.
No. Wrong. All right, let's get into it.
All right, let's start with Kirk. We're going to start. We're going to start with Kirk.
He's a Gryffindor. Next. I don't need to explain.
You don't.
Look at him. Look at all of. Just look at him.
Yeah. It's
I don't
heavy
know
on
if
the
everybody
Gryffindor.
remembers these movies. I feel like people forget they exist until they watch them, and then they're like, "Oh my god, I love this movie!
Yeah,
it's
me.
amazing." These are my like I can turn these on and watch them in a row like multiple times. But I do also do that where if they're not in front of me, I'm like, I don't remember the plot. It's great as a comfort movie though, because then I put it on, right? And I'm like, oh my god, everything is brand new to me. Like it's really great. But so for anybody who doesn't remember, this movie it opens with Emma Swan and Thor having a baby. And that baby is Kirk. But then
That's why he's an emotion house. Took after his mama.
But then it's like baby 9-year-old Kirk speeding through the future Kansas plains in a fucking
Stole a stepdad's car.
Yeah, blasting sabotage.
Fuck you, you're not my dad.
Yep.
Sabotage.
And trying to kill robot cops.
Almost yeeting himself off a cliff.
So Rachel was like, "That's all I needed." And then
That's
also
literally all you need.
And then also he goes into the bar and the guy's like, "There's 4 of us and 1 of you, so what are you going to do about it?" And he's like, "Well, I guess you should invite more guys." Like, yeah. He's getting beat up to feel something is what's happening. So
Just when he calls him Cupcake.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, later on.
I just
he's,
love
yeah,
it. Yeah.
He's like,
But he's like that quintessential thing that you guys always talk about that Gryffindors do, where they have like that one defining thing in their life that they take it and they like shove it deep inside of them and it's like a big driving force. The trauma.
yep.
That's
Yeah.
Daddy trauma.
Daddy trauma.
Daddy trauma.
His daddy issues.
I cannot live up to my daddy who sacrificed himself for everybody, including me. And also he really, really wants his daddy to be there.
I just love that Pike just showed up and knew exactly how to fucking play this guy.
Yes. Oh my god, he's so typically predictable when like Spock's like, I'm from like older Spock, Leonard Nimoy is like, I'm from the future, blah 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 blah, and he was like, is my dad alive in your universe? And Spock's like, I know what you want. Yeah, he's proud of you. Like,
Aw, you
I know
can't
exactly
blame
what
him.
you want.
Like,
I don't blame him.
Listen, we're maligning the Gryffindor daddy issues here, but you know, your dad's a big part of your
True.
life most of the time. Like, or the absence of him is a big part of your life. Like,
Well, it's like he does the Dean Winchester thing that Dean does with his mom, where it's like he built him up, right? And then in this case, well, like Dean with John built Mary up, and like this entire Starfleet command is like, your dad is so great, so you can't really blame him.
So anytime he does something wrong, it's like, your dad.
Your dad wouldn't be happy about that. It's
yeah,
like,
but when he does shit right, it's never
also,
like your dad would be
what,
proud.
Yeah, that's what like Pike didn't actually know him. He was like, I studied him in my thesis. And I was like, okay. Like, whatever.
Yeah.
Nobody cared about fucking first mate George Kirk.
But he was so good at manipulating Kirk to do what he wanted him to do, just based off of this one thing.
He knew he was a Gryffindor. I don't know how, but
it's
he did.
the best card. It's the best card to play. Yeah.
It really is. Yeah. Well, the whole I dare you to do better. Like,
yeah.
But also like he got the Gryffindor thing too, where like, you know, the special person that knows you're special comes and plucks you out. Like he got the Harry Potter thing, right? Like he fucking came and grabbed him from Kansas and was like, "You're gonna be an amazing like Starfleet captain, and I have so much faith in you." And then he goaded him, and Kirk was like, "Captain in 5 years, I'll do it in 3." Like, you know, like
well,
he knew exactly what to do.
Most of the Gryffindorism when he's with Spock, and I don't think it's a big spoiler to say they're not in the same house. I don't think so, right? Imagine if we came out and we were like, Spock's a Gryffindor.
Yeah.
Fucking imagine.
Totally.
Spock the
but
Gryffindor.
because they're so very different, a lot of their like relationship is so crazy. It brings out the crazy Gryffindor in him. Like, number one thing I think most Gryffindors can agree on hating is narcs. Like, we don't like a tattletale. We don't like a snitch. And the whole conversation where Spock is like, he told on Kirk, okay? He told on him. And this is in the second movie, I believe.
The second one, yes.
Yeah. And
he's
Kirk's
like, I thought we were like in love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He wrote an incident report.
But the best part is that Kirk is like, I don't like a snitch, bitch. And Spock is like, bro, I literally cannot lie. Like, do you understand that I can't lie? And he's like, there's half of you that fucking can. I'm talking to that half. Like, I feel like other houses would be like, yeah, all right, he's a Vulcan, like, typical. But
no,
Kirk loves him.
I think what's great about that conversation too is that Spock is like, I was just writing an incident report. Like,
Kirk's like, what are you, a cop?
Kirk didn't tell me he was gonna lie. Like, Kirk expected Spock to also lie because the reason that all this happened is, yes, because they were trying to save Spock's life.
Yes.
But before that, it's because they were interfering when the prime directive is that they shouldn't be interfering. They're supposed to observe or whatever. But as much as Spock is for the prime directive, Kirk can get him to be like, people are going to die. Like, you know, like he so Kirk like expected him to also lie because first they were saving people from dying and then they saved Spock from dying, right? So Spock was like, I just wrote an incident report on what happened. Yeah. And Kirk's whole thing is like,
yeah. Give me a heads up, bro. Like, you've met me. You know that I'm going to lie out my ass about this.
You didn't tell me you were doing, like, I wouldn't have lied maybe if I knew that you were going to rat me out. Right.
Yeah.
Like, we could have planned it. Like, it was like a partnership thing. He was like, you weren't my partner. Like, we could have had a plan. And you just went and, like, submitted an incident report that didn't need to be submitted. Yeah. Like, all they need is the captain's logs, technically, right? On, like, on a mission that
Kirk
doesn't
is right, as he
goes
usually
well,
is,
which is what Kirk was saying happened. So... But in Spock's mind, he was like, this is how the system works. And when something goes wrong, you submit an incident report.
And he's like, no, you little narc. No. It's like, I'm trying to teach you to be cool. Why can't you never just be cool like me?
Let's be honest.
So
like
heavily it's
totally Dean Winchester and Cass almost. It's like, he wouldn't like him as much if he was cool. Like, that's a part of why he likes him so much.
Gryffindors love that.
He's a little lame-ass
sickness.
nerd.
It's for real a sickness.
Well, he also looks as someone who is very, like, logic-based, and he grew up being half human, but not really being a part of that culture, and he looks at this person who is, like, the epitome of a fucked up human being. Who's nothing but just, like, a ball of emotions, and he's like, this is so interesting.
Right? And I think that Kirk looks at him the same way, where he's like, what is that? Well, you're so deliciously weird. You're so bizarre. Speak more. Actually, stop speaking. No, wait, speak more. Like, that's his whole thing with him.
After that scene that Rachel talked about, when they have, like, the fight, they have, like, a second fight about it because Kirk is getting so... He's like... Because he saved Spock's life, and... Oh, actually, before that, he has a conversation with Bones. I think it's it's when they're trying to figure out if they should beam him up or just go away, like Spock is telling them to. And Kirk's like, what would Spock do if he was in my place? And Bones was like, he'd leave your ass here. Like, so Kirk is like still thinking about that after he's saved Spock or whatever. And Spock's like being all like, you broke the rules or whatever. And Kirk is like, yeah, you can still yell at me about that because I fucking saved you. So he's like, I just need you. He's like, can you understand why I saved you? And then they spend like 5 minutes staring at each other. And Kirk just like, and Spock's looking at him like, I don't get.
Yeah,
what?
he just leaves.
And Kirk rolls his eyes and just leaves. He's like, what?
He's like, I cannot with you. Like, I can't. How do you just not get it? And I just want you guys, I need you guys to know that this is like 95% of my fights with my husband is exactly how they go, where
it's
I'm like,
Gryffindor, I love you. And it's
how do you not get that? And he just stares at me. I can't lie. Like, I don't do that. And I'm like, fucking learn how to do it.
She's like, but do you understand that I love you, but I can't say I love you? Like, do you get that? And they're just like, I don't get.
And then you just get the weird robot head tilt. No. And you as a Gryffindor are like, I've never wanted to throttle someone so much.
It's so obvious.
Yeah.
I've never been more clear. I've never been clear about my feelings. Like,
or then in the first one, we could circle back to the first one. Obviously, we're going to be like jumping all over the place here. But the whole thing with the test, right? So Lauren brought up the test because this was a big, like, I was super drunk and I was texting Lauren, like my thumbs were on fire, and I was like, do you think that Kirk fucking cheated on this test?
We found the
because
divide.
I honestly don't think he did. And I also don't care if it's cheating, because if your test is so stupid that it can be hackable, then you fucking deserve to win. Like, you did everything you needed to do to be the best. Like, good for you. You figured it out. And George is like, absolutely not. He broke the rules. I'd have him kicked out of the fucking Federation so fast. I was like, shut up, you're such a loser. So me and George are furiously like fighting with Lauren. Like, yeah. And Lauren's on my side, and George is like, I can't believe this. None of you have any respect for the rules. You have no respect for how anything works. Like, he was so upset.
So, like, the reason I hesitated is because I don't think that he did anything wrong.
Right.
But there's the technicality of, like, think of in an academic sense. If there was a test that someone made unpassable and you hacked into the system and changed it, you would get expelled.
No. This is what I was getting into with George. This is what I was getting into with George, because
I know, but
the system's stupid.
She should be.
I understand the rules. The rules are stupid, you know?
They are.
No, yeah, no, but he didn't cheat, but they should be changed because he didn't cheat. Because George was doing that. George was like pulling out all the Spock, like, the point of the test is to be in a position where you have to choose one or the, like, there is no win. And I was like, no. George, and he was like, that's how you know who would be a good captain. Like, you have to see what they would do under that sort of pressure and like what the no-win like decisions would be. I was like, George, if I had a fucking person who knew what the situation was going to be beforehand and didn't do everything they could to avoid it, I would not want them to be captain. I was like, they should have kept their test fucking secret if they didn't want Kirk to know what was coming. Like,
yeah, no, because Vulcans like George can't handle that with like that you beat them at something. Like, they can't handle it. They're like, oh, you need to be deleted then. Like, you can't surpass me. No way. And like this obsession and like love for the rules, like, you have to understand.
It's like this whole point of the operation, and you broke the point of the operation. Like, actually, I went around it. Like, wouldn't you want that?
Some rules are either stupid or meant to be broken, and like Kirk really understands this and does not get the respect he deserves for it, okay? I really don't think he does. I don't care if you want to call it cheating. It doesn't matter. He proved himself to be the best for the position.
Everyone in these movies would be dead if it wasn't for him always being right and breaking all the rules.
Exactly.
Well, no, exactly. That's why I was, oh my God. And I was, okay, well, now we can go to the second movie again. I'm going to do two things, basically. First, I was talking to Rachel because Kirk does this all the time, and it's so Gryffindor. He's not as, like, openly, emotionally, like, intelligent as, like, Hook is with, like, the feel, like, he's more Dean Winchester about it. But more so also than Dean, he uses that emotional intelligence on others. Like, Dean doesn't Dean is very internal he's very good at himself and not so good at everybody else. Mostly because of his hangups with himself. Kirk is out there like in the second movie watching this guy, like, why'd they blow up the archive? Why'd he take the briefcase? And he's like looking at that. Or when he's looking at, there was like another instance
with Benedict Cumberbatch,
where he was like observing somebody, and he was like, oh, when they were going to Vulcan. No. Also, when they were going to Vulcan, and he told them, like, we're going into an ambush because this is what happened, and blah, 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 blah. And he's got to convince all these people that are supposed to be way smarter and way higher up than him. And he's got to tell them, like, no, none of you are paying attention. Like, you're falling in. It's so interesting because these people are falling into, like, the first logical trap they see. And Kirk is like, why are these life forms acting like this?
Yeah. And then you have to sit and ask yourself, why this dumbass the only person who stops to think, why is something happening instead of just military? It's not a military organization.
It's the
instead of just showing up and being like, well, this is what we do.
He does, yes, and he does do it. You're right. He does do it with Khan too, because Khan's thing is like, it's the people and the missiles, right?
Yeah.
And Kirk's like, there's something going on here, and Spock's just like, he's evil, like, and I'm like, yes, that's correct, Spock, but like, what's happening here?
Yeah, no, it's an emotional intelligence. Like, it's a you get a spidey sense about people and about situations and about things. And even though he's not constantly like, okay, like Captain Hook in Once Upon a Time, he reads everybody for filth all the time. Like, he says it to you to your face constantly.
And he like says it to their face, and is also like, and this is how I feel about you. And you're like, oh my God, straight to my face, like.
Yeah, and Kirk totally can, but he doesn't, like, he internalizes a lot too. You just more sort of see the questions on his face, and then he'll ask the question, and I think he's so used to being shut down by like these other logical thinkers that he's like, all right, maybe I shouldn't say it. But when the sensation on the back of his fucking neck is screaming at him, he's like, I'm sorry, I just need to ask this. Like, are you all fucking dumb? And it just comes out.
Yep. They're like, no, we've arrived at the logical answer. We don't need anything further. And he's like, but these are people. Yeah. And people do stupid things or emotional things. Like, you know, like.
People do things for reasons. They don't just willy-nilly just go do it's not a game of battleship.
Yeah.
They did something and then they're just waiting for you to make your next move.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why the whole older Spock thing is so funny too, because older Spock knows him obviously extremely well. They're lovers.
They are.
And have been for years. So he goes to him like emotionally, like we said with his dad, and also goes at him with like you're a great captain, like you do all this, blah 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 blah. And also, I don't know if you remember at the end of the movie when Spock meets him, and he's like, "Oh, Kirk like never told me that you existed." And older Spock's like, yeah, I may have implied to him like some catastrophic like time hole wormhole thing would like open up and destroy the world. And Spock was like, and he fell for that. and the older Spock was like, listen, man, I did
and they're both like, oh, isn't he just adorably dumb?
They are. They're like, he's so dumb. But also older Spock is like, that's his like emotional thing. He's like, people are like, you know, crazy, like, you know, he totally believes that. And that's what I was saying to George too, because older Spock did all this shit to Kirk to like get him on his side, to believe what's happening or whatever. And then younger Spock fucking hates Kirk. And older Spock shows up and is like, you're besties. And younger Spock's like, oh, okay.
Like, if I said so, it must
I'll
be
start
true.
working on that. Yeah. That's exactly it. Yeah. But no, what else was I?
Whereas, like, I would never. Emotion House would never. I'd be like,
no, we would never listen to our other self from another universe. I'd be like, get the fuck out of here. You're so annoying. Literally leave my sight right now before I hit you.
fucking Dean Winchester in the end. Or fucking Hook punching his younger self.
No, literally, like, you're the last person I want to hear from right now. Are you serious?
I do not fucking trust you.
Don't tell me you've learned lessons. I don't believe that. I would never learn a lesson.
People used to be friends with. I don't fucking trust you.
Yeah, for real. For real.
No, so, but also what happens in the second movie is they demote him because of that mission, right? That he saves that planet or whatever. So he breaks the Prime Directive and they demote him. Again, it's like a repeat almost of the you cheated, you're on school probation or whatever. This is something that he really shouldn't have been demoted for, but he was because of the Prime Directive. But I was laughing because he's immediately Captain.
Yeah.
Because Pike makes him first, what I don't remember what his first man or whatever. And then Pike dies. Oh, that's the other thing too. Pike is like Pike was his surrogate daddy,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
Khan murdered him, and then
It's like, not my space daddy.
and then Kirk was like, I don't have emotional intelligence anymore. Kill this
Kill.
man. Like,
The Peter Quill jumped out. The Peter Quill. Jumped out. Yeah. The other
Fuck the
space
universe.
Gryffindor. Yeah.
No, he came back because
did.
then the Admiral wanted him to shoot all the missiles at the guy, and
He was like,
and he was like, but maybe I won't start a war with the Klingons.
Yeah.
But maybe
you seem a little too happy to
but
do
obviously,
this. Yeah.
and obviously, the Admiral really thought he was the guy to be that way, to be the Peter Quill. And, you know, maybe if space travel was a bit faster, he might have just fucking shot the missiles. But he had some time to think, and that was Spock. That was a little bit of the logic house coming in and being like, man, maybe we shouldn't start a war because your daddy's dead. Your surrogate
He
daddy.
reins himself in, I have to say. Like, he gets better at it, and he does rein himself in, like, at the appropriate times. Whereas someone like Peter Quill he hasn't reached that level yet. Like, he's
Right.
much more immature than Kirk, I think.
Yeah.
I don't think Kirk's a very
Yes.
immature person. I actually don't. Like, he's
No,
No.
I think
he's cocky sometimes
just
and whatever,
right.
but he's
cocky because he's right.
yeah.
he's right. And I think he grew up. I think he's a little like Dean, where he grew up very young.
Do we ever find out what the hell happened to his mom? Like, where the
His
fuck is
mom-
Emma Swan?
She was like, because he called her once in like the second or third movie, so she's alive. She's just like,
Did she just like space out? Like,
I
after
don't. I
Thor
think.
died?
Well, I think after like age 18, he kind of went off, and she was like, and she knows him, and was like, I've just got to let him,
Just
whatever.
listening.
Like, yeah. I don't know, because she was kind of absent there, but I don't know that we know enough to know that she was a neglectful mom. He obviously still really loved her. He was getting in touch with her, so I don't know. I have no clue. I guess we should talk a little bit about the third movie, even though I feel like it's a really good movie, but I feel like the least.
The least important, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
They're all established characters at that point, and it's not a big enough plot to really push them anywhere.
Mhm.
Like, there was supposed to be a fourth movie. I think it was supposed to bridge into like whatever. Because the third movie was. I told Rachel this. I was like, love how everybody on this ship is so depressed they refuse to talk about it, and they're all just gonna leave without telling
Yeah.
anybody else.
I do love how, like,
Yeah.
I think it was Bones who said to him, he was like, yeah, I know, your dad's dead and whatever, and this day is sad for you.
yeah.
He's like, yeah. And then later in the other, I don't know, I'm just picking things out of the third movie, but like when they're on that ship that the girl alien has been,
Jefferson.
yeah,
the
whatever, and he
Yes, the
sees the
Franklin.
fucking captain's
Oh,
seat.
the Franklin. Yeah, that's right. The guy's name is Jeff.
He sees the captain's seat, and Scotty's like, just let him sit there. Like, he
Yeah,
likes that
Scotty's
seat.
like, he really likes that seat.
So that's
he
his
does.
thing. The captain's seat is his
That
fixation.
is his thing. The ship is his car. Well, I was going to, when we talk about Scotty, I'll talk about this too, because I think it's really interesting how they both do this. But it's like, it's my ship. Like, don't screw up my ship. Like, when he has to hand over the seat to like Sulu or whatever, he's like, don't fuck up my ship. Like, I'm coming back. So
Yeah, I think like a big
and
cheat
they're-
code if
and
you're
they're
looking if someone is a
really-
Gryffindor is like, what are they hyper
they have a
fixating on?
thing?
They have a thing.
a physical thing. Yeah, no.
It's a literal
like,
thing.
and they're all like literally mourning the ship when they
Yeah.
have to like detach the saucer and like it's dead. The ship is dead. Like, he literally mourns it. Like, they go and
Yeah.
visit it to find the crew, but he's like in the hole. Like, you know, like,
TJ wanted us to sort the Enterprise, and I was
really?
like,
Okay,
I don't,
well,
I don't know how to do that.
vehicles that have souls are almost always Gryffindors. I don't know, because their owners are
It's super
Gryffindors
literal.
and they imbue it with it themselves. I like the Impala is a Gryffindor. I don't know,
The
like, you
Millennium
know,
Falcon.
I don't. Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Like,
Fair.
they put a bit of their own soul into it. That's what gives it life.
Yeah.
So,
Okay. He'll be so happy to hear
That was
this.
really cute and like poetic and
He
also
had
kind
about
of like
30, like,
sad.
you have to do this, and that was like one of the things I remembered.
well, it's like Emma's Yellow Bug and the Jolly Roger. Like, they're all
Yeah,
you know,
that's
like
true.
Yeah. It's their little
These are all
child.
Gryffindors
It's their
doing
child.
this,
They've
yeah.
imbibed with themselves. Yeah. Yeah. Oh my God. It's one of those ones where it's like, watch the movie. He's
Just look at
tell
it.
you,
Yeah,
it's crazy.
like,
I think it's
yeah.
fun to talk about him in juxtaposition to the other characters too, though. Like if you guys want to
which
get
we
into
can do.
Spock.
The last thing I was gonna say, like, so he is trying to get off the ship. They went on this like 5-year mission that he really, really was excited at the beginning, and then like 3 years in, he's fucking sitting alone doing his captain log. Like, Space is endless. What are we all here for?
Don't leave a Gryffindor alone for too long.
No.
We start to get too
Start to get
existential
weird.
up in here. We're like,
Yeah.
what's the purpose of
Why am I
life?
here?
Spock was
Am I
depressed
even
too,
real,
so they
dude?
probably weren't having sex and like
Yeah.
but at the end of the movie, because he puts in for the vice admiralty position
Yeah.
at what's it's called? I don't remember what that place was called in the middle of nowhere that they built. That big shiny
Yes.
orb thing floating
I'd
in
never
space.
know the name.
It had a nice name and now I can't remember it. Oh, it was called Yorktown. I remember because I was
Oh,
like,
I
fucking
believe
Americans
you.
named this place. Fucking Americans named this place. Anyway.
Yankee Doodle Town.
It's where we win the war for our independence. Anyway, so it's Yorktown. So he puts in for the vice admiralty, and then after he does the whole mission or whatever, the lady's like, obviously you've earned it. Like, you know, you can start. And he's like, vice admirals don't get to fly, do they? She's like, nope. And he was like,
All right, bye.
he's like, I've realized something that I knew all along, and I needed to hit over the head to see it. It's like, yes, you were depressed, and now you've taken medication. Like, and now you can go back on your ship. Oh, you're right. Okay, so this is a scene between Kirk and Spock and Uhura. So I did it again. Let's get into the other people, and I can kind of talk about it because it's all three of them being exactly their house.
Okay.
In the third movie when Spock and Uhura are fighting.
I like this R rolling thing you're doing. I
In
won't
the-
be doing
I
it.
know.
I know.
I'm not meaning to. When they're fighting and they're going down to the planet. Is it the third one or the second one?
I think it's a.
No, it's the second one.
Oh, when they're
no, it's
going.
the third one. No, it's
when
the
they're
second one. It's the second
separated,
one.
or
It's this. No, it's the second one. It's the third
No.
one. It's when they fight both movies.
describe
It's
the
when
scene.
It's
Are
it's
all
the scene
three
when
of
they're
them in the little ship?
All three of them are in the little ship,
That's the second one.
and
When they're going
okay.
down for a con.
yeah,
Yeah,
and
second one.
yes. Oh, okay. Yeah. And and they start. Uhura and Spock start going at it,
Yeah.
and then Kirk's like, "Are we really doing this now?"
Yep.
And he's like, "Actually, you know what? I agree with her." And they're like, "Oh." So anyway, yeah. Go ahead. We can go into Spock.
I mean, I guess we have to because it's
Yeah.
Kirk's boyfriend.
Mm-hmm.
I can't stand this muff.
Look at
I
this
like
man.
Spock.
I fucking love Spock. I don't
I love
understand
Spock,
why
and
you
I
don't
think
like Spock.
they're perfect for
Is
each
it because
other.
you're married
No,
to
she
Spock?
does. She does. Yeah, she does. She's just annoyed that.
She married him.
Yeah,
You know, before all
and that
this,
she is Kirk. And
I've
that
bought George the Vulcan ears before. You know, like I've known for a long time what I married into. Like I was aware. I just didn't. It was like you guys were describing earlier, where you're like, these are the types of movies like you forget them, but then you jump back into them. And you're like, oh, they're amazing, and I remember this now. Like I haven't seen these in probably 10 years. Like especially the first one, I have not seen it in a long time. And I started watching it, and I was like, oh no, don't fucking tell me, like don't tell me this. And George is like, what? Don't you just love Spock? Spock's like my favorite character. He's so great. Nothing Spock ever does is wrong. And I'm like, actually, I think Kirk is great, and nothing Kirk ever does is wrong. So I'm not sure. And immediately they have that fight over the test, and it just, I think we paused the movie for like an hour just to scream at each other about it. Like truly, truly. And we continued the next day. The next day was Father's Day. And I woke up and I was like, am I going to give him his gifts? Because like, I'm so mad. I'm so fucking livid right now. So anyway.
she's like fucking space pig apologist. Like,
I was like, you Vulcan apologist piece of shit. Like, but yeah, I don't think it's a surprise to anyone that Spock's a Ravenclaw, right? Like
I
Look
really
at
hope
him.
not. And it's one of those
Look at
ones
him.
that's almost
Yeah.
depressingly obvious
Yeah, I
that you're like, I
know.
don't want it to be, but because you're like, oh yeah, robot man with no emotions who's really smart as a Ravenclaw. Ooh, it's like, sorry, he is. Like,
I know. I low-key went in and I was like, maybe he can be like a Hufflepuff. Who knows? Like maybe we can swing this a different way. Like it doesn't have to be so on the nose. No. Spock won't let you.
Sometimes they exactly who they say they are.
Yeah.
Exactly who they say they are.
Oh my God.
What it
He's
says
so-
on the tin.
Yep.
It's the rule loving Ravenclaw too. It's the ones where it's like
the system where it's like that. I told, well, we can't talk about this.
I
until we get
know.
to another character.
I know. I caught myself too. We have one coming
Yeah,
down the pipe
all right.
that's like
Yeah.
similar in the system sort
same
of.
house, very different. No, very different.
No,
way
in
that
the
he
respect
looks-
of. Anyways,
Oh, okay.
let's.
Yeah.
We won't spoil that.
Do you want? I want to say one thing that I really love. There's
Go
a
for it.
moment
Okay.
in the first movie where Kirk is getting his like, I don't know what the fuck the position is. He's supposed to be getting like inducted into like the Council of Vulcans.
Yeah.
Right? And they're insulting him, basically saying like, oh, you achieved all of these things, even though you're half fucking human. And you just see the switch go off in his head. And I just love that he like takes them down with their own flawed logic.
Yeah.
To show them their bigotry, and then is like, bye.
Yeah.
Like that's probably one of my favorite.
You can see everyone put up the peace signs. It was really cute.
Because I love when logic houses out logic house more.
Bitches.
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You see logic houses fighting, and
Yeah.
the one out logics the other. It's I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just so entertaining.
It's like a little nerd rap battle.
Well, you know what? Completely unrelated. I also love when emotion houses do that to other emotion houses because the big example I have is when like Peter and Tony are fighting in I don't remember which one it is.
Yes,
but they're fighting and Peter is like Tony keeps basically calling him a dumbass and he's like, you know, I'm half human. That part of me that's a dumbass is you people. I love when houses do that to their own houses. You're exactly right. I fucking love that. And Spock's good at that. He is good at it.
Yeah.
He's also pretty good at tapping into the human side if he wants to, right? Like if he wants to.
Yeah, well, that's the thing about Spock, right? He's been raised by the Vulcan society to be like anything human, like anything not Vulcan is wrong. So I have to like suppress that.
Yeah.
But he really, really, really loves his mom.
Yeah.
So he wants to hang on to it. So he's like doing his best to like publicly facing be Vulcan, but like internally he's still holding on to that. Like he's not letting it go. He's not burying it, but he's just not letting it like be seen by other people because again, like old Spock when he's like, you got to go back to the ship and you got to get me to step down from captain. And Kirk is like, you're never going to do that. Like, how the fuck would I do that? And Spock was like, make me cry about my mommy.
Dude,
he was like,
make me emotional, and then I will outlogic my own self.
and there's a rule that says I can't cry about my mommy, and I'll immediately step down.
You'll have to remind me of like what happens plot wise because again I was very drunk. But this was one of those moments that triggered another humongous argument because it's in the first one. I know that
George texted me.
Spock's mother is in grave danger, and I'm looking at George and I'm going to George and I'm like, and what would you do here? You're gonna let her die? And he's like, dude, what do you like want me to do if I just everyone? And I go and I very specifically go to George and I go, so you don't love your fucking mother? Like, is that what you're telling me?
Rachel,
and on the screen,
Rachel,
Kirk goes up to Spock and he's like, you don't even love your mother.
Rachel. So what happens is they're all standing on a cliff and they're being beamed up by the Enterprise and they don't have Scotty yet. So their beaming technology is like, don't move or you're going to get spliced. So they're getting beamed up and the cliff collapses under her. So she falls and they lose her in the beam.
Yes.
And Spock can't go after her or he'll be like fucked. He'll be fucked. So she falls and then old Spock is like, well, there's a rule that says if you have a personal, like emotional attachment to the mission, you immediately have to step down. And Kirk's like, he's just going to do that?
Stupid.
And Spock's like, yep. Yeah,
Stupid.
he will. Kirk's like, I have an emotional attachment to every single mission I've been on.
Yeah. No, but it was specifically it was just so funny because I had just said it a second before to George. I was like, then you must not, I guess you don't love your mother. I guess you're a psychopath who just doesn't love your mother then, right? And then Kirk comes out and he's like, you don't even care. If your mother dies, you're free. I was like,
George
my boy.
George texted me while you guys were doing all that and he went, Spock should have taken some time to recover. I do agree that he should have. He's like, I will say that he should have taken some time to himself.
Oh, George let the half human side out for a second. Is that what happened? Yeah. Okay. See, they can tap into it when they want.
I think when Spock realized he was smiling while he was choking Kirk out, he was like, okay, actually.
He wants me to do this, and I don't want to do what he wants me to do.
But he's right. I do love that about Ravenclaws, though, when they are like, oh, you did get me. It's when you out logic. When the emotion house out logics.
Yeah, they do.
But they get them to change their logic because you're right.
It's fascinating to them.
Yep.
Something we didn't talk about with Kirk, because it's so obvious, is like the amount of times that people are like, there's this one thing that you have to do to save the world, but it's impossible to do and you'll die if you do it. And he does it at least twice. He does it in Khan when he goes into the radioactive chamber and Scotty's like, you'll be dead before you reach the the reactor, and he's like, no, I won't. Like, and then in the third one, when he's in the fucking spinning fan thing or whatever, and they're like, you won't be able to get out of the way in time you'll be sucked into space.
Yes,
and he's like, no, I won't. And it's that blind faith that Gryffindors have when they're like, if I die, I die, but also I won't die.
Yes.
But Spock again. So he finds Kirk in the radioactive chamber or whatever. And he's like, get him out of there, get him out of there.
Oh, was this the very gay scene?
Yes, the very gay scene. Yes. So he's like,
this is like the gayest scene in cinematic history.
He's like, get him out of there, get him out of there, get him out of there. And Scotty's like, I can't. If I open the chamber, it'll flood the whole system, and then we'll all be radioactive. So Spock doesn't open the chamber, but he does very dramatically slide down the glass and put his hand up to it. And then like, keep Kirk company as he dies.
He cries, Spock, doesn't he? Sheds a tear.
He does. And then Bones figures out that well, actually, Spock goes after him before he knows this.
He's like, you murdered my husband. You have to fucking die.
So Spock goes after Khan. Yeah. He goes after him to murder him.
Yeah.
He's just wailing this shit out of him. Like, Khan's like, I'm done. You can take me to prison. And he's like punching him.
No, I want you dead. Yeah.
Yeah. And Uhura has to show up and go, actually, like, his blood is going to save Kirk's life. That's the only way she gets him to stop.
Yeah.
Like, this is the only way to save Kirk, is what she says. And he doesn't need the rest of it. She just says it's the only way to save Kirk. And he's like, I don't need explanation. I don't need to know the logic behind it. Okay, I will stop punching this man for now.
You've satiated my rage. It's fine.
I do love that, like,
my best friend's gonna be okay.
Khan is like not afraid of anyone in that movie but Spock. Like, you
want to soar at Khan real quick, Rachel, because we're not gonna.
He sees Spock coming and he just runs. Like he's like, I can't fucking body this guy by myself.
Dude.
Oh, he is. No, you don't have to think. He is.
Khan's like a psycho Hufflepuff for sure.
He's a Hufflepuff. Yeah.
For sure.
And I think,
And it's always so funny when you see a Hufflepuff and Ravenclaw duo, because it's always super unhinged in some way or another.
I was going to say too, but that's the reason also as well. Obviously, we don't really have to get into it. The thing with all his people, and they're the only thing that matters to him or whatever, and that's how he relates to Kirk, but he relates to Kirk through that, but it's in different ways, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, he calls them to Kirk his family, whereas I don't know if that's how he really feels about it, as opposed to like these other higher beings that are on my level and the only other people I can relate to.
Yeah.
I guess that's family in his twisted brain, but he puts it in those words for Kirk. But that's, again, and then also, like, Spock the whole time is like watching this man and being like, he's manipulating you. He's manipulating all of you. He knows exactly what you do on the ship and what you do on the ship and how you feel about them. And like, he's doing all of that. And Khan knows that he knows. So he's like, I just, like, all he could do is hope that nobody is listening to Spock.
Well, and to be fair, like, to bring it back to Kirk too, Kirk, I think, knows too, but he's like, but what do you want me to fucking do about it, bro?
But he's like, what do you want me to, he's like, what do you want me to do about it? And also, I think Kirk is also getting hung up on the fact that he's like, and this dude's like human, or like, like a life form. So he's like got some sort of emotions.
He's got value.
He's like, he's got emotions and value. And it's like, and he is getting caught up in like, the family thing.
And Spock's like, no.
I would do that. And Spock's like, nope, this man knows exactly. Spock's like, you fucking idiot. He knows that. Like, that's what he's doing. That is what he's doing. And they're like, and it's not helping Spock that he's currently like fighting with everybody on the ship. So, and I think,
but you know what I like
too.
about the kind of Ravenclaw that Spock is? Like, when you see another Ravenclaw that loves the rules, like Rick Grimes, because he loves the law so much that he wants to become the law. You don't ever see Spock want to become the law. Like, truly, he doesn't. No. He just respects the rules.
That's something that we should say, like, what Spock's system is that they are all established systems. It's like Vulcan culture, and then he joins Starfleet, so he also, on top of that, adopts, like, the Prime Directive. Like, this is how Starfleet operates. So Spock is very like a by the book system Ravenclaw. Yeah. Like, this is what the rules are, like literally the written out rules, and this is what you're supposed to do.
And he's not like,
everybody knows that.
He's not using his intelligence or anything to like overthrow someone or in the pursuit of power.
He's totally
he really
happy.
Plays support, and he's happy to. Like, he really respects Kirk as captain when
he does.
I mean, throughout
when
all
he gets demoted and he's still calling him captain. Yep. And Kirk's like, well, I'm not fucking captain anymore.
Yeah.
And he's like, but captain. And he's like, don't say that word.
He's like, well, I can't say anything else. My brain won't let me. Like, I don't know what you want me to do. I keep telling you, I can't lie. I can't change. I can't deviate. Leave me alone.
You're my captain. I love you.
I am what I am.
I didn't mean to get you fired. I didn't mean to get you fired.
Oh my God. Do you think he felt bad about it?
He did. He said that he did.
Did
He said my purpose was not to have you demoted, Captain. Like, I
know that he said that, but he's just saying like that wasn't my.
No, but he feels bad that he upset Kirk, but he doesn't.
He doesn't feel bad that he did it, right?
He's like, but I still don't regret doing it.
He feels bad that he upset Kirk, and Spock knows how good Kirk is. I think he is also like, I made a whoopsie. Like, this man's not a captain anymore.
Hurt his feelings.
Also, well, yeah, and I like made a boo boo in the time space continuum. Like, this guy should be captain.
Yeah,
like, you know.
Yeah, he's really good about respecting people in the position that they're in, and like he really doesn't have much of an ego. Like the ego does not jump out heavily. Right. I really didn't see it.
Well, like the whole reason he keeps getting into fights with Uhura is because he thinks that he needs to go have. I love the way like Bones says it to him, like, "Oh yeah, you told your girlfriend you were gonna go off to New Vulcan and just have a bunch of Vulcan babies. I don't know why she'd be mad about that either." Like, you know, so like his whole thing is like, I have to go help rebuild my race and like, you know, keep my culture going and blah, blah, blah. And he really feels that responsibility, but it's all because like I have to keep the Vulcan system and Vulcan values alive.
Can you believe the dumbass said that to her with his full chest? Like, I can't fucking believe it.
He probably didn't say it like that, but like he told her that he had to go off.
He said it in a fucked up way, I guarantee.
And repopulate. Yeah, I have to go help repopulate my race, which is like, I have to go fuck a Vulcan lady. Like, have Vulcan babies. But no, and then the thing that derails him from that is that older Spock dies. And then he's so typically Ravenclaw in response about it. He's so fucking weird about it.
He's so weird about it.
He's so weird about it, which to be fair, like I have to give to him a little bit because like how do you react about the fact that your older alternate reality self like died? Like
fine.
Are you sad? Are you like finally they got out of the way?
Who fucking cares?
But he liked like they had a relationship.
Yeah, whatever.
So
right.
It's not just like, you know, but yeah, he was like very like he didn't know what to do because there was no logical reaction to it. So he was like, I will just ignore it. It's like, I don't know how to react to this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it's juxtaposed with fucking Kirk sad about his dad. And they're both just like sad emo boyfriends in space, like not speaking to each other about it.
Just going to get off the ship and never see you again and not tell you about it.
Bros sitting 2 inches apart, not talking about their feelings.
In the space-time continuum.
Yep.
They're actually ridiculous. And Uhura, like, well, okay, when we talk about Uhura, it's just so funny, like, because she's so her house, too. And she so very much sometimes looks at them so exasperated, like, just do whatever the fuck you're both going to do. Like, you're going to do it anyway, and you're annoying.
She totally condones it. She's like, get away from me, go
be gone
yourselves.
from me and do your thing. She's just, like, fine with it. She's like, it's my boyfriend's boyfriend. It's fine. It's whatever.
It's that meme.
It's literally that Parks and Rec meme where April's like, this is my boyfriend Todd, and this is his boyfriend Dave.
Yeah, they're very much that. Anything else about Spock before we move on? That it's gonna like it always comes to you later in the episode where you're like, oh, and another thing.
Yeah, I feel like we're going in circles.
Yeah, true.
Anyway, so.
Well, we can move on to Uhura. So.
Zoe Saldana has a niche.
Yeah, so I was talking to Hannah and Lauren about that. Like, I'm pretty sure I sent out a text.
Because you know what? I thought about Avatar a little bit, and I would put her Avatar character there.
Yeah.
I might if I ever stayed awake enough to watch it.
Yeah, Avatar's a shitty movie. I'm not endorsing it in any way. I had to see it in theaters once.
Ugh, God, Georgia loves that movie.
TJ does too. He tried to get me to watch it 5 times, and I fell asleep
nerds,
on him.
Man.
That Pocahontas ripoff? Okay. I'll just watch Pocahontas.
Zoe
it's even
Saldana
less problematic.
Is a space Slytherin and somehow is always in proximity to a space Gryffindor in some way. And it's like the same flavor of space Gryffindor too.
Her agent knows that this is what she wants to be.
Hey, it got her the 3 top grossing movies in the entire world. So like whatever.
She's fucking good at it, man. Mm-hmm. She nailed it again because I love her in Guardians of the Galaxy, and I love her
in Hot Ones, and I would give her that house from the 10 minutes of Hot Ones that I saw. So maybe
any
she's
of you
playing...
hold on? You're all relatively close to my age. Have any of you ever seen Crossroads with Britney Spears?
Yes.
No.
Yes, it's been a long time.
I was gonna say, I wonder if she's Slytherin in that too.
I don't know.
Sorry. We'll talk about that later. I'll let you
It's
guys
not in
watch
space,
it.
so maybe
'cause-
there's a
True.
But I would give her, I don't know. Maybe she's a Slytherin every time, but
Shout out
space
to my people
Slytherin,
who love
definitely.
Crossroads. Cinematic fucking masterpiece that was. Anywho, yeah, she's a space Slytherin, and so Uhura is also a space Slytherin. And it was one of those where, like, I was just watching it and just watching her mannerisms and the way she moves her body and the way she talks and expresses herself, and I was like, oh, Slytherin. Like, fucking immediately, like, I really didn't need anything. I literally, smart, capable,
we started
independent, intelligent. I was like, oh, yeah.
We started watching it, and I was like, Slytherin can't expand on that.
Yeah, she
It's
I
hard,
can expand
right?
on it a little bit. She knows like every language. This is what I was talking about with Bones too. I was like, he knows the anatomy of like 50 million different species and like the separate diseases that they can be afflicted with.
Mhm.
Like, that's crazy. So I was telling my mom about that with Uhura too. I was like, it's not that she just knows the language. Like, you see it when she's like, you brought me here to speak Klingon, let me speak Klingon. She's just not going out there and like saying Klingon shit. She knows the culture and what she should be saying to them. Like, it doesn't work because Klingons like killing, but she knows to be like, this man like is not honorable. Like, she knows all that shit. She's really smart.
Yeah.
In the first movie, well, there's two moments in the first movie. The first, also I want to say too, the fact, because I had to read up on this because I was like, how immoral was this? Because Spock's her teacher. So I read the wiki, and apparently it was clarified in the back end or something that they did not start a relationship until he was not her teacher anymore.
Okay.
But he did have her in class, and that's where they like, were like, you're hot. And then
they got to know each
started a
other there, and then
relationship after.
Spock would have never broken that rule.
No. And I don't know that she would have either. But just
not.
because it would have threatened her position.
Absolutely.
But anyway, cause she is not put on the Enterprise, and she goes, like, she gets because they're putting everybody in her ships or whatever. So she gets her ship called, and she immediately goes to Spock, and she's like, excuse me, was I not the number one student in your class? Did I not show like exemplary skills, like blah, blah, blah? And Spock's like, yes, you did all that. And she's like, well, then why the fuck am I not on your ship? And he's like, I didn't want to seem like I was showing favor. She's like, bullshit, put me on your ship.
Yeah.
I don't care, buddy.
And he's just like,
care.
okay.
She's like,
Just
it's
two
not
buttons.
favoritism. I fucking earned it.
Yeah.
Like, get me on the fucking ship.
Which is how Kirk felt about cheating on the test.
No, but then the second thing is that she was in her free time, and Kirk hears this all under the bed of her roommate, who he was trying to have
Oh my
sex
God.
with.
Yeah.
In her free time was like cracking frequencies that she thought was weird or whatever. So Kirk, part of that is what Kirk put together, that like this is an ambush or whatever.
Yep.
So when he's saying all that, Uhura's like, yeah, she's like, that's all correct. Like, what Kirk just said is probably what's happening. She's like she's processing it as quickly as him, and immediately is like she's not taking the emotional aspect or like the doubt of like, this seems like far-fetched. She's like, he said all that, and I did that, and yep, that's right. And then she immediately replaces what is it, Romulan? He's like, he asks his person who does whatever job she does. I don't know what her official title is other than that she's the linguist, but she does some frequencies and shit too. But he asked the person who initially was on the Enterprise for that job, he was like, oh, I can't discern this like dialect of Romulan, man. And he was like, do you speak Romulan? And she was like, all three dialects. And he was like, replace.
Yeah.
And she's been there ever since.
One of the big, I think I tend to like look at the emotional aspects of people to like really get, I don't know if it's a me problem in my brain or whatever, but when she.
So you looked at when she fought, when she was fighting.
Not that part, actually. It was when Spock's life was in danger.
That was a big tell too.
The way
but
she
the reason
is
that
acting,
she was mad at him.
The way she's acting is like, this is a Slytherin in fear. And like, she was there. She was in full control of the situation, but you could see the panic on her face. Like, you saw absolute terror in her eyes, but her hands kept moving towards the mission. So there's like a connection between the mind and body where it's like, okay, I can detach from the panic that I'm feeling to complete this task and to meet the goal of saving Spock's life and get him on here.
She follows Kirk's orders, yeah.
And she does that too. And then when Spock comes back, she like can't even look at him. She like turns around.
No,
she's like,
and Spock goes and he's like, why are you mad? I was the one who almost died.
Yeah.
And she's like, because you just
didn't think
wanted to
about
die.
me.
She was like, you didn't think about me at all. You like didn't think of us as partners. You were just cool dying. Like, you just stood there and you're going to take it. And she's like, you suck. I don't want to talk to you right now. Like,
yeah, it's very that. It's funny to see a Slytherin with that kind of Ravenclaw. It really is. It's funny because like she can put up with a lot of it.
and she like gets it too.
Exactly.
So like a lot of things like that are pissing off Kirk or whatever. She's like, he just like, if you want him, this is what it is. Like,
yeah,
you know?
yeah. And Kirk's like, well, I do want
this
him
all the time.
He's like, yeah, but I'm gonna yell at him, and she's like, it's not. She's like, I just want the good shit. Like, I don't want to do all that.
She's like,
but
you're wasting your time yelling at him. But Kirk's like, but it turns me on to do that. So
right, yeah. So like, it's not a waste of time for me or a waste of energy. Yeah. It's actually our like pregame.
Uh-huh.
But no, one thing that Rachel like famously likes to say is that she loves looking at how people fight in order to get their house or whatever. I think Uhura does, because we see her fight with Spock quite a bit.
Yep.
And we also see how she reacts when Kirk is first hitting on her. And she's like, it's very Slytherin. She's like very quietly amused about it. She's like, never going to happen. But she's like entertaining him because it's funny. It's kind of like a cat with a mouse or whatever, where she's like, this is amusing for now. And then she was like, and then the big men started beating him up. She was like, okay, cut it out. Like, it's not fun anymore.
Yeah.
But when she's fighting with Spock, it's very like silent treatment and just like doing her job silently.
She goes into herself.
Yes, she does. She goes
very
to
much
herself,
so.
and she would probably do this with any. She would probably do some version of that because that's just how Slytherin gets mad with any partner. But it works on Spock because going at Spock and yelling at him, obviously with Kirk, doesn't work.
Right.
Or like a Hufflepuff might like approaching him and telling him the problem. You have to get him to come to you and go like, wait, something's weird. Because then you're like, haha, got your attention. Now this is what's wrong.
Yeah.
And that's what she does.
It's strategic.
She waits for him to come every time before she's like, you know what, this is your problem. This is what your problem is. And then tells him.
Well, and her problem is always that he just isn't thinking about
their relationship.
Yes, because like she really does understand him.
And
she's
she knows
cool
that
with it
he
until
loves...
the moment she's like, you're by the book, whatever. I support that. I am too for the most part. But the moment he doesn't think about her in priority over
it also
whatever.
Frustrates her that he doesn't think about himself. Like, you don't even consider yourself worth. Like, why wouldn't you?
This is extremely Slytherin because she does do this. She like knows logically that he loves her. They say it a lot. She believes him. Like, he loves her. But he has these things that happen where he doesn't show it necessarily. And then she starts getting like, I don't like that. Like when he was like, I'm just gonna let myself die, she's like, that's not the action somebody who loves me would make. or I'm gonna go make all these babies. I don't remember what she was mad at him about in the second one.
It's probably the trying to get himself killed in the volcano.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. And then the third one, he's gonna go off to make babies. But she's
both
and like
dick
and
moves, dude.
They're technically broken up in the third one, and you see Bones being like, "Oh no," but she's not that type of person. She's really like, she's like, "I'm here to do my job," and she's like, "If you're not my boyfriend anymore, then you're not my boyfriend. Like, I'm not going to treat you like my boyfriend.
It is what it is, dude. Like, I still have shit to do.
She's like, I'm on the fucking Enterprise. Like, you know, she got a bigger role in the third movie. Just that whole thing with, I forget what he changed his name to. What was the bad guy's name in the third movie? He was Jefferson. And then he turned into like Klieg or Klurg or something like that. I don't remember. But she goes into because she has to detach the saucer or whatever. And she goes, and Kirk is trying to do it, and she goes after them and is the one to do it. And this guy is like confronting her, and he was like, "Why would you do that? Like, why would you sacrifice yourself?" And she was like, "Because it's so matter of fact." She was like, "Kirk would do the same thing for me." Like, she's like, "I return shit, man. Like, he's gonna do that for me. No way, I'm not doing it for him. Nobody's gonna call me out like that. Like, I'm gonna."
She does. I mean, she also does really love him. Like they reach a point where they're and you see Kirk loves like he's not leaving one person behind if he can help it. Not one person.
They're all his family. He loves everybody in
like
that crew.
individually.
And like, especially, I was telling my mom, imagine what it must be like to be a crew member that's never on the bridge. That you're like, oh, now we're fighting. Now the ship's blown up. What is happening? Like, you know,
yeah, really.
I have no idea what's happening.
The most chaotic.
I guess we're going to Romulus now. Like, yeah, and it's like, you see all those people getting sucked out, and Kirk's like, but nobody on the bridge is hurt, right?
Yeah. They're like, whatever. It's
those were red shirts.
Oh my god. Oh, that's so true. You never think about it from their perspective. But he do be loving people though, and I really think Uhura sees that and respects that, and like absolutely she's not going to put herself in a position where you can say something about her, sure. But I really do think it comes from a good place of like that's my boy. I'm
is.
doing it for him because he'd do it for me. Like, it's very easy to understand.
I say it funny like that because it's
I know.
It is. She's and like in that scene that we were alluding to earlier, where they're all in that little ship heading down to the planet or whatever, where they decide Spock and Uhura decide to have their fight right then, and Kirk's like, "Are we doing this now? I'm not a part of this." And her is like, Kirk agrees with me. He's mad at you too. And then Kirk's like, actually, yeah, I am. And it's very like 3 people are married.
Yeah, it's very triple.
It's very much like I was not involved in this, but actually you do this to me too.
But
so
I am upset. And we've been talking. Her and I have been discussing this, and we were disappointed in you.
We've been talking about all the things we don't like about you.
You really want the Gryffindor and the Slytherin against you together, comboed? Ooh, good luck.
He doesn't understand. Spock doesn't understand.
Only a Ravenclaw could take it because he's like, I don't care about that. Like, say whatever you want to say, you silly people. I'm tapping into the Vulcan side right now because I really don't want to give a shit about what you're saying. So I can choose to ignore it. He really just doesn't get it so much of the
emotion
time.
and the logic is coming at me. I just don't want to listen to it.
Shut off. Dude, he's so funny. Like, so unintentionally funny. He really is. I know I'm hating on poor Spock a lot, but really, he's
I called
funny.
Angel unintentionally funny earlier today.
Oh, yeah. He is unintentionally funny.
Unintentionally funny is the best kind of funny.
It is. It's like, you're just hilarious. This is why Kirk is so into
It's
him.
just who you are.
He's
You're
like,
not even trying. Yeah.
Wow.
No,
You're
Kirk is like,
so
you're so.
funny.
I was telling Rachel the entire time. I was like, and Dean and Cass is a Hufflepuff. He's not a Ravenclaw. It's a different house.
But it's a different form of
that
robot.
Alien world, not understanding humans for different reasons, right? Like Spock doesn't want to. Cass wants to and has a distinct inability to because he is so special. But and I mean that sincerely. Not
He is. He is a special.
Like, you're so special. Can
we call him a person?
He's an amazing character. No, this is life. I've been saying life form for Star Trek because they're all living beings, not necessarily all humans. Dean and Cass are very Kirk and Spock coded in the way
it is. They were fighting. I don't remember what part it was, but I remember texting Lauren just saying that exact thing. Like, this is so Dean and Cass. Like, are you kidding me? This is ridiculous. It might have been when they were like lovingly staring at each other through the glass with their hands on the glass.
Dying.
Like, shut up.
And then the
I
other
think
guy
it was
I have to go get revenge immediately.
Yeah. I think it was too when Kirk was like, "Can you please just understand why it is I saved you?" And Spock's like,
and he's so Dean in that moment where he just looks at him, rolls his eyes, and walks away. He's like, I can't fucking deal with this right now.
No more at this moment.
Yeah, we'll revisit this because I'm still very entertained by you, but just at a later time.
Fascinated, deeply fascinated.
You've
against my will.
Lauren, he needed to put him in timeout. Like, he needed, it's like, I need 40 minutes away from you. We'll revisit this soon. Sometimes Gryffindor has to put you in timeout. Like, you need to give us a minute.
I want to return to this conversation, but I'm not currently equipped for it.
No, I'm going to say some shit. You don't want me to say some shit.
And I have a boner, and I need to go get rid of it.
I think he does try really pick his moments where he can get Spock and moments like that.
Yes.
So it's like, if he sees it's not going nowhere, he's like, we will return to this when you realize.
I got to think about this a little more.
It's the emotional intelligence thing where it's like he does get flashes of like, I get what's happening with Spock, but it's still weird to me because it's not what I would do.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So it's
not what I would do, so it's wrong.
He's right. Like, and I think he's
not
he
doing
knows
emotion
he has to
right.
be okay with it. Yeah.
Yeah.
He like knows I have to try to understand that, but right now I'm so fucking pissed that you were a little snitch that I need to walk away from you. Or we're gonna throw fists again. Yo, that fight in the first movie. Incredible stuff. They're just ripping each other apart. I was like, do his shirt next. And get his belt buckle. Let's go. Get his belt off.
It was going there. They were in front of people. And they were alone.
They should have let them go. They should have all left the room. Oh, it would have been great.
Do it on the chair.
There's a reason they're such a loved ship. I'm telling you, I see it. I never saw it before. I see it.
I told Rachel was like going crazy for it. I was like, Rachel, there's a reason that like the first ever fan fiction.
My God.
Yeah.
And like they're the first really like known /ship. There might have been one before it, but I don't know.
I think
first
they're
one
the
they were like
main
making
one.
fanzines.
They're
and
the
stuff
face
for.
they're the first one like document. Like there may have been.
They're still huge. Like they're still.
Oh God,
a
yeah,
huge pull for them.
And these Chris Pine, Zachary Quinto movies are not hurting. So
I know. Like you put super hot guys in, it helps. I'm not trying to imagine Shatner with anybody, like, but now you put Chris Pine in there and Quinto, like, hello, let's go.
Yeah.
I'm here.
My mom was watching this movie. I do this all the time, but she did this where she was like, Chris Pine's eyes are really blue. I was like, they fucking knew what they were doing with those bright white backgrounds that they put him on.
Really
and
did.
He's got the black shirt. And then they're like, here are his eyes. And I'm like, okay, calm down. Like,
they were into him.
We're just going to hypnotize people in the theaters.
Right?
Yeah.
I literally remember, because this came out Mother's Day weekend of 2009, I think. I remember my dad coming in and being like, I know you don't like Star Trek, but your mom really wants to go see this movie for, Mother's Day weekend. Will you please come with us and like not, be all like whiny and about it? I was like, I will absolutely come see Chris Pine in a tight shirt. I don't know what you're talking about. Like, and then I loved them
Hollywood
for the content. They knew what they were doing.
Yeah. We should talk about Bones, because Bones is an interesting one, because I did not pay.
And I really want to talk about Scotty too, because Scotty is so interesting. Yeah, and you really only have to see his scenes with Kirk. Yeah. Bones, Scotty.
Bones, I didn't pay enough attention or give enough respect to, honestly. I was fighting with George really hard, and I was so hyper focusing on those two.
At the beginning of the third movie, and she's texting me. And I was like, where do you have Bones? Because I had just started the first movie.
Which one's Bones?
And she was like, so I was like, where do you have Bones? Because I was a little scared, because I had just started watching the first movie. So again, like I said, like, you forget these movies, but I knew what Bones was for some reason. I knew what he was really, really clearly. And so I had done it in the past and just kept that with me, but I couldn't have told you why, because I couldn't remember anything. So I was like, where do you have Bones? And she's like, who's that? And I was like explaining to her who he was. And she was like, oh yeah. She was like, Gryffindor maybe, or Hufflepuff? And I was like, interesting. And then I got worried, because I was like, oh no, I misremembered, and I'm going to have to actually watch these movies before opening my mouth. But then Rachel kept talking, and I was like, okay, I just have to tell you that this is where I think he is. And Rachel immediately went, oh, yeah.
I was like, it would help if I rewatched a scene with him in it and like paid attention to what he was doing, right? Hold on. Okay, let me look. And then I put on the third one, and I was like, because he immediately was like, yeah, I know you're being a little bitch today because your dad died or whatever. I was like, okay, Spock in a different flavor. Damn, the fuck. So yeah, we landed on Ravenclaw. I mean, Hannah, I don't know if you agree.
Nope. I put Hufflepuff.
Interesting.
I also put Gryffindor, crossed that off, and then put Hufflepuff.
Okay.
Yeah, so the rage gets you at first, right? Like the anger and the outbursts and like the...
He doesn't really, though.
He's just not grumpy. Rage. He's...
Yeah, yes. It got me, though, because there's so many disgruntled and grumpy Gryffindors, and I was like, oh, are you one of those?
But, like, he's just very, like, dutiful, trying to do his own thing, and then he always has to fucking... Yeah,
that's why I landed on Hufflepuff the second... When Gryffindor... Wait, it doesn't feel right. Okay, so he must be a Hufflepuff, because he's, like, really dedicated and really, like... loyal to this community. And then Lauren was like, let me throw this at you. And I was like, oh shit. Yeah, and I saw it. I saw what she was talking about. But she makes very good arguments for it, so take it away.
I remember him now. I don't know.
Well, like, you told me about his backstory, which I knew nothing of.
Yes, because you didn't listen.
I'm sorry.
Kirk meets him going up to Starfleet or whatever, going up into space, where Bones is like, my name's McCoy. My wife divorced me. Now the whole fucking planet's after me and I gotta leave. And he's like, I fucking hate space. I hate space. I'm gonna throw up on you probably. I don't want to be in space, but I'm going to space. So Kirk's like, okay, man. And then the next time you see them, they're best friends, which I think I just have to throw in to, it's like a really weak argument, but I think Kirk has already proven his preference for logic houses to be around him.
Yeah.
He just clicks better at that. But so they're friends. We don't see them get to become friends. We just see their first, meeting, and then they're friends 3 years later after they've been through the academy or whatever. I had Bones's like system thing, whatever, down as like the Hippocratic Oath or whatever the, equivalent of it is in space. Like, he's there to save all people, any kind of people, and like the pursuit of that. And I understand how it seems like Hufflepuff, because it's like your role is the doctor.
It
and
very
that is
much
what you
looks
do.
like that.
But
yeah.
and it can look like, and I totally see it, but I just have it as Ravenclaw because you see it in his interactions with Kirk, like Rachel said, like, oh, I know you're all sad today because it's your dad's fucking birthday, but we're gonna have a party anyway. Like, I'm over this bullshit. Or when he, just his bedside manner to me is very
needs work.
Ravenclaw.
Kirk says that to him. He's like, needs work, brother.
It's like, I think you're better. He's like, yeah, I'm not. And like his like whole catchphrase is just like, you know, like, I'm a doctor, man, not a physicist, or, you know, like, I'm a doctor. I'm not supposed to be doing this other shit, but he does do the other shit.
Yeah.
And in the third movie, they pair him with Spock, which was so
funny.
I'm glad I told Rachel he was a Ravenclaw right before that, because Rachel was like,
Kirk's two
I got it. Rachel was like, I've got it, because they're completely opposite.
Different systems.
Ravenclaws. I was like, no, Spock is a system rule. Like, he goes by the rules of the system, whereas Kirk is like, Bones is like, this is what I can make out of the system that I agree with. So he's very working around the system while still following the system, where like Spock is very, very rigid system. Like, this is the role, I have to do the rule or whatever. Because I'm trying to remember. I don't even remember what he does in the second movie.
Don't ask me.
Using Khan's blood to try to bring the animal back to life or whatever. And they're like, what are you doing with that? And he's like, I just want, Khan has the ability to. I'm like, okay, whatever do you think? Like,
I was gonna argue with you a little bit, but I have a Ravenclaw friend who models Gryffindor, but also just like leans into Hufflepuff a little bit. So I don't.
It's so interesting when
I
someone's
don't know that,
not.
But so you remind me kind of Bones. So
I was gonna say because I don't know if I would say that he might. Like, I'm just thinking about it more. Like, what would I say to be like not Hufflepuff? He doesn't have a community. He's not like a community of doctors. No. And I wouldn't even call that. I don't even think he sees the Enterprise as a community. He is there. He's like, I'm the doctor on board. I save these people's lives. This is what and he's like, and I love a lot of these people, so I will try a little harder. Like when Spock gets impaled, and he's like explaining. That's the whole thing too. He's like explaining the whole process to him. He's telling, and he's like making a little fun. Like, he's like, now if I remember correctly, your guys' heart is like where a human's liver is. So like, you were 2 inches to the right, you'd be a goner. Like,
yeah.
Or like or when they get surrounded by those ships and Spock gets beamed up, and he's like, oh, fucking typical.
It's giving modeling Gryffindor, actually.
I honestly agree with you. I really felt that way, where he very quickly, if I had to go like off of my gut for a second, I was just the way he's like always so done with everything and so
he's
fucking
so
grumpy
fucking
and like,
exasperated that he has to.
Like, you're so annoying. But then,
and then all of the puns and the metaphors,
dude.
And
personally, I think what rips him out of that is the way that he goes about actually accomplishing his duty. Because a Gryffindor will complain the whole way through. But like, he hits a point where he's hyper focused on what he's doing. It shifts him out of what I'm seeing Gryffindor as.
He likes being responsible for people's lives.
He does.
Like, he feels capable of it.
It ties into exactly what I'm saying too. He's not resentful of it.
He's upset when he has to do shit that isn't that.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's when
he's like, this is not my job.
Or
but then
he has to save Spock's life. Then he will complain the whole time.
Right. But also, like, this is a Ravenclaw. We always like, shit just works out for Ravenclaws. Like, this is when
his arms caught in the fucking...
Right. Yeah. And with the bomb about to go off and Carol just rips it out. No, but Spock wants to go back, invade the swarm or whatever. And they're like, you can't because you're injured. And he's like, well, what if somebody who knows my injury intimately and also knows the inside of the ship comes with? And they like go get Bones from the medical bay. And he's like, I don't fucking want to do. And then he's on the ship and he immediately does it. He's like, all right, I don't know how to fly this thing, but let's go.
Yeah.
He's like, and he's the one who's like, Kirk, you're never going to make it out of that fan in time. And he flies the ship over there to like catch Kirk so he doesn't go into space or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, or Kirk yells at him too. He's like, drive them towards the square, Yorktown Square. And he's like, I don't fucking know why we're doing this, but let's do it. Like, he's just like, whatever, man. This is what you've told me to do. I'll do it, I guess. Because it's part of his system is just his role within the ship is as a doctor. But I think, again, larger, it's like saving lives or like preserving lives. So like whichever way that is needed at the time.
I think that's why he gets along so well with Kirk's I don't believe in no-win scenarios.
Right.
You know? Because they're both very much like their own personal prime directive is very similar.
That's the other thing that I can see Bones so clearly as a Ravenclaw into. He finds Kirk and Spock so fucking hilarious. He loves seeing them fight. He's like, oh yeah, I hate that pointy-eared bastard too.
Yeah.
But then he's like with Spock and he's like, you're funny, man. And then Spock's like, you're kind of stupid too. And he's like, I'll fucking kill you.
I think it's there's a very distinct, like, okay, we talk about the Hufflepuff Slytherin overlap. There's a Ravenclaw Gryffindor overlap with this, and it looks a lot. It looks similar when it becomes, there's the if I die, I die. Sometimes the Ravenclaw has a little bit of that, but also it's the shit just works out, right? So where the Gryffindor is running without thinking, it's like almost like the Ravenclaw has calculated everything and they're like willing to take the risk because they've calculated it and they've assessed it and it's just going to work out for them. The way it magically just works out for a Gryffindor sometimes too. So there's an interesting overlap there where I think, if you get a character like Bones, it can easily look like a different house than what he is. He's a very interesting character when you really sit there and think about him and like really try to fucking analyze him and put him into a box. You're like, oh shit, interesting. And I love how he'll shit talk anybody to anybody else too, because he's like, I have no
little gossip.
He's like, I'm here for the drama, honestly. Like, this is hilarious.
Well, that's like Spock is like just fascinated by like the workings of. I think Bones just likes to see people. He like finds it funny.
He does.
Like,
he does.
He gets it. He's not like Spock. Like he gets it, and he also knows how to make it happen.
Right.
And he thinks it's funny.
Well, you know what else is funny?
Until it's focused on him, and then it's no longer funny.
You'll say like people. I guess we'll say it like
shit on me.
Gryffindors really love drama, but Gryffindors get really invested in it, and then their personal feelings get into it, and then they get mad about it, right? Like a Ravenclaw really can just enjoy the drama.
Yeah. No, you're right, because Gryffindors like will not be a part of it, but will somehow put themselves into it, even
they're
when they're
affected by it
things
somehow.
personally that they have nothing to do with.
Bones is totally a bystander, but then genuinely, when somebody turns to him and is like, "Get in on that," he's like, "No,
don't look at me. Do not make direct eye contact.
Yeah.
I'm here." When you're dying on a table, I'll be there. But otherwise, I don't want to be there.
And he's very honest about it.
Yeah, he is. Really, he tells you that. Yeah, he'll tell you that.
Dude, he's really a funny character. I'm sad I didn't give him the attention he deserved at first.
And he's very.
I'll probably watch it again.
He's extremely funny, and his relationship with Kirk is very cute. When when he's going after Kirk, like he injects him with that vaccine so he can get on the ship, and then Kirk's hands blow up, and then Bones is like chasing after him with medical equipment while Kirk's trying to like run around trying to save the world. And they do that gag several times where Kirk's like trying to run after somebody to go like save something, and Bones is like poking at him with medical device, and Kirk is like, if you touch me with that fucking thermometer again, I will shoot you. Like, and Bones is like, fascinating. Why did you react like that?
I mean, I think that pretty succinctly sums him up, right? Like, fascinating. Why did you react like that? Do it again. I want to see you do it again.
I'm going to poke you again. That's
weird little observers.
Harkens back to our Ravenclaw roots, right? If I poke it, what happens?
Yeah.
Like,
very different Ravenclaw already,
but
Spock.
Maybe something different will happen if I poke it again.
I love when we have characters in the same house that are nothing the fuck alike. I love when that happens, because he is not like Spock. He's just not. They don't think the same way. So it makes it fun to put them together.
They don't have the same motivations.
I love the third movie when they were together.
There's one scene that I can. It's when the first movie when Spock gets Kirk. He kicks him off the ship, and Bones goes to him and goes, "Look, was removing Jim the logical thing to do? Yeah, but was it also the stupidest thing to do? Yeah, you need him here. That's what he does, and it's very, very interesting that he's like, look." I see you, Ravenclaw, and I know why you did this. I wouldn't have done it, because although it is logical, it is stupid.
So specifically, this is why I was veering towards Gryffindor at the beginning, because he says, was it logical? Yes. Was it the right thing? That's one of the three things I wrote down. Yeah. Was it the right thing? No.
But see, I don't think he means that in the sense morally. I think he means that in the sense of like, what does the ship need to function correctly?
It's to insult him, honestly, too.
But like what I'm saying is he doesn't mean the right thing morally. Yeah. He means like the right thing in order for the ship to function correctly.
Yeah. It's like you say that you obviously wanted the best for the ship and you wanted the best outcome, whatever. Was that the best outcome? Dum-dum. Was it? Right. I don't think so. And he also just loves shit talking. Like, he loved that. He's such a shit talker, man.
That's why his wife divorced him.
I mean, she couldn't deal with the Ravenclaw. Not everybody can.
That's where he got. My mom was like, "Oh my god, that's where he got his nickname." Because when he's going up into space, and he's like, "My wife made the whole planet mad at me." He's like, "Strip me of everything but my bones." That's why They call him Bones. He was left with his bones.
he said something stupid to a Gryffindor who adopted him immediately and was like, "This is your name forever now. I will never call you."
Yes, yeah. He was like, he Dean Winchestered him. Like, here's your name.
Immediately Winchester.
Yeah. Strip me of everything but my bones. Oh, so your name, that is what defines you. Your no, not everybody does your bones.
They do. It does define you. It does define you. I said.
That's why I disqualified him from being a Gryffindor, actually, is because he never brings up the divorce again.
It's like, nope. He's done. That part of his life is over. He's like, I left the planet. I don't even remember her name. Let's go.
Dude, they're an interesting bunch. I'm so endlessly fascinated by them. I really am.
Ravenclaws, yeah.
Well, they're hilarious.
I want to talk about Scotty, because there's not a bunch to say, but what there is so fucking telling. I love Scotty.
Yeah, he's funny.
And they picked the best actor for him, I think.
And then he wrote his own fan fiction and made it a movie.
He did. The third movie was partially written by him. Yeah.
And directed?
I don't know. I did maybe produced.
He had a double credit for something.
Scotty. I was saying there's not a lot to see, but what you do see is so extremely telling. Like, they find him in the middle. He's a Gryffindor, in my opinion. They find him in the middle.
Thank you.
They find him in the middle of the fucking tundra in the first movie, and older Spock shows him the equation that he hasn't come up with yet, and Scotty's just like, yeah, I would have come up with it. Like, yeah, thank you for giving it. He's like, yeah, I was almost there. And then they're like, you want to be the head engineer of the Enterprise? And he's like, yeah. But the thing that really got me, that I found so fascinating, is that, so Scotty's the head engineer of the Enterprise. He's running the ship and keeping it together, and he knows every single thing about it. And I told my mom about this too, like the same thing with Uhura and the same thing with Bones. He has to filter through, and Chekov does this too when he takes over for Scotty a little bit. He has to filter through, like, something happens to the ship. He has to filter through everything that's happened, every possible fix, and then find the best fix. And he does this all within, like, seconds. Like, he has to do all of that. So he knows the ship very well. And just like Kirk, he calls the Enterprise my ship. Mm-hmm. And they don't fight each other about it. Mm-hmm. They both have some sort of respectful knowledge of, like, yeah, she's yours and she's mine, like, in different ways. And they both, like, respect the ways in which the ship is theirs, but she's also mine, like, to both of them. And it's so interesting how that works. But yeah, that was just the first movie. And then the second movie, he won't sign for the missiles.
Oh yeah, that's
and
what
it's
did it.
very much
that was a big one.
It's very much this is not morally right. Yep. He says, I don't know what these missiles are made of. I don't know what's inside of them. Right. If I sign for them and the whole ship blows up, that is me.
Yep.
I did that. Yeah. He's like, I will not sign for them.
And he's fighting Kirk, and he's like, you can see that he's so certain that Kirk is gonna, like, see that the right thing to do, and then like, okay, I accept your resignation, and he's like, wait, what?
Kirk's blinded by his dead daddy. Yeah. He's blinded by his dead daddy. No, he does that. He tells, because he does what Kirk would have done in order to call somebody's bluff, right? Yeah. He's like, okay, if you make me sign for these, then I resign. Like, this is how serious I am. And you understand how serious I am because we get each other. Like, we know each other, right? And then Kirk's like, well, then I accept your resignation. And he is shocked. He's like, seriously, you're gonna do that. Like, okay. But then he's in the fucking bar drinking, bitching about Kirk. Bitching about Kirk with his little buddy. Like, fires me. I'm the best engineer in Starfleet. Like, the fuck does he think he's doing?
And for doing the right thing.
Doing the right thing.
Lauren, I think I once told you the SpongeBob audio that goes around on TikTok where they're like, they just treat me like this, fire me, just treat me like trash. I've told you that's the inside of a Gryffindor's brain. He's doing that
out loud, getting drunk at a bar, and Kirk calls him, and Scotty's like, oh, ho, ho, look who's come crawling back. And Kirk's like, no, actually, no, I'm not. He's like, so you want me to be the engineer in the Enterprise again? And Kirk's like, no, actually, but I need you to do me a favor. And Scotty hangs up on him and is like, thinks I'm going to do him a fucking favor. And then he goes and does it.
Yeah. And Kirk knew he would, because Kirk can read him just like Scotty can read Kirk.
Yeah. And also, it's never, and Kirk does go, he apologizes to him, and he doesn't say you were right, but they do the equivalent of like Gryffindor, you know, Gryffindor like apology. Yes, I fucked up, and Scotty's like, yeah, you did.
We don't need to say sorry, right? No, God, please move on.
Understand. Yeah, he's like, just acknowledge. He's like, I really want you to be on the ship again. Scotty's like, damn right you do. And then yes, and then the third one he has a bit of a bigger role. They kind of focus more on the crew in the third one. So he's the one, Jayla is her name, Jayla.
Yes.
So
Jayla.
He's the one who finds Jayla, and I love the way that she calls the ship her house. She's
It's
house.
cute.
Scott.
And Scotty has one of those Gryffindor things where he's like, "Oh, you're different and strange. I love that."
She calls them by their full names. She's like James T. Kirk, and she's like Montgomery Scott. And he's like Scotty, and she's like Montgomery Scotty. It's like,
He's
oh
like,
my god,
I love this.
Yes,
Yeah.
he's like, oh, I'm in love with and she's playing the music, and he. I don't know. Other than that, I don't know what else to say to him. The third movie, he's just very Gryffindor the entire time. He's like, I want you to help me find my crew, my friends, and he's like so like art. He loves teaching. Like he clearly sees her as like a little protege. They got her into Starfleet Academy. Like they pulled some strings together, and he's clearly like very proud of that. But like when she meets him, and she's like, "What does that badge mean?" And he's like, "It means I'm an engineer in Starfleet." And he's like, he's a good teacher, and I think that speaks to Gryffindor. I don't know. That he's just a Gryffindor. I don't know what else to say about
He just is.
He just is. And then I don't know how much there is to like. I guess I have two little things. Rachel and I both put Sulu and Chekov in Hufflepuff.
Yeah, both of them.
Me too.
Yeah.
Yay.
And Sulu, the big thing for Sulu was just like he's very role
Wherever you put him, he's like, I know that.
Yeah. He's like Pike's like who
100%
Pike's
confident.
like, who is combat training? And Sulu's like, I do. And then they're going down there, and Kirk's like, what kind of combat training? And he's like, fencing. And Kirk's like, oh, you're gonna die. And Sulu's like, nah. Like
Sulu
pulls out his
saves his
badass
fucking
sword.
ass.
Yeah, pulls out a badass sword. Yeah, no, he when he's like a new pilot. So Pike's like, do you know how to fly this thing? And Sulu's like, yeah. Because it's like the ship's not going at first.
Yes.
In the third movie, when the ship has no takeoff capability because it's so old and they have to go off that fucking cliff or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
I can't remember who it is that's like looking at him like, are you gonna pull the like, are we gonna go? And he's like waiting till the last second before he pulls off. He's very good at what he does, where he has to do it. He is just like, I am a crew member and I do what I need. But the thing that I'm really good at is piloting, because the other big thing that screamed Hufflepuff to me is the first time that Kirk told him to take the chair. Sulu was like, Hufflepuffs aren't super, like some of them can be like Thor. But I think that's also just Thor. It's not necessarily because he's a Hufflepuff. He's just like a natural leader. Yeah, it's like a Thor. But Hufflepuffs generally, in the sense of like looking at a Hufflepuff, aren't super leadership-y just because they do that thing where they fit into the community and they work with the community. Thor's, I think we've said a million times, Thor's best place in the community was leading the community, which is why he's a leader. Not every Hufflepuff is like that. Most of them are like worker bee, or like, they fit in the part of, so he's told to go in the captain's chair, and they actually dedicate like a sentence or two to being like, are you okay? And Sulu being like, I just don't really feel like I belong here, and then being like, you're gonna do great, like you'll be great wherever you are. So and then like he's got his daughter who he's doing all this for, and his husband, and it's very cute. And then I would almost like copy paste to Chekov.
Oh my god!
Like, I can do that.
Really?
I can do
yes,
that.
I can do that.
I know that. Yes, he is, and he's a little more like Sulu's like, anybody have combat training? Sulu's like, yeah. Chekov's a little more like, they're down there like
proactive
trying,
about it.
Yes, they're trying to do math or they got a problem and they're not figuring out. Yeah. Chekov's like, I can do that. Like,
he is looking for where he can fill in the role.
Wow, I love your Chekov voice. That was so
he's
funny.
so cute, and I
love
so
him.
miss. I'm so sad about the actor,
Yeah.
and I so will miss him if they do ever make another movie.
Yeah,
That's all I really have to say. And he fills in when they fire Scotty, and Kirk's like, hey, you've been working with Scotty, and Chekov's like, yeah. He's like, well, you're the new head engineer. Like, do you think you could? Yeah, and he also feels. He says so when the ship, the warp core breaks or whatever, because the admiral sabotaged it. But Chekov had literally just taken over the ship, and he's like, I take full responsibility. Like, this is my.
So that was the big. That was the big one for me too. That was the big one for me too.
He's like, this is on me. I should be taking care of my department. It's like, bro,
and
you
you
took
know
this
what?
department over 5 seconds
It
ago.
absolutely, like, you could see that broke Kirk's heart too. He's like, you're not taking responsibility for shit. Like, don't even say that. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Daddy's home. I'm gonna fix it. Relax.
He's like, I'm a responsibility king, and even I cannot condone this.
Yeah, I cannot condone this. What are you, me? Get the fuck out of here. Yeah, that was really a fun experience getting to watch these again, even though like it almost ended in divorce for me. It was like great. It was really spectacular. I've never seen my own relationship represented in media before. I've never seen that.
There you go.
It was literally in like the biggest, most representative piece of media.
I think I'm supposed to be in space. Like I don't think I'm supposed to be here. So George, beat me up whenever.
Listen, no, I'm telling this for the George texted me and went. Rachel thinks because all of the Gryffindors she relates to, like Han Solo and Peter Quill and Kirk, are in space, that she needs to go to space. And he was serious. He was like, I really am worried she's going to try this.
I'm going to find a way eventually. She's going to
get herself adopted on purpose or something.
I don't think I'm meant to be here, to be honest with you. I think I should be up there, but, we'll see. Give me a couple years. Alien reports have been, like, through the roof recently,
it's been
okay?
Like that. It's forever.
No, it's really amping up, okay?
I would just let the aliens take you. Don't let humans.
I'm saying I'd rather be with them for sure. If you hear me, if you pick up this broadcast, come and get me. Come and get me, baby. Let's go. I have to be captain, though.
Oh, my God.
And then all will be well. They heard me. They listen to this avidly.
Favorite frequency, the RSS feed.
Hannah, thank you for requesting it. This was fun. Like, I really enjoyed this.
These so much. I love every single character.
At the beginning, we were like, we have nothing to say. And then we started talking about Kirk. We were like 20 minutes into Kirk. And I was like, wow, this is a really good episode. I toot my own horn there.
It was good.
It's just so fun. And all of the characters are so fun. And
They are. And they're very, not all of them are like as obvious as Spock, but they all, they are very broadcasty of what.
They yell.
Like once you hit what they are, like even Bones is the only one we had like a little bit.
Bones was the only one that I wasn't immediately like, they're this.
Yeah.
Because he's a weirdo.
One that was
and I wish that I remembered why I had that in my head initially. Yeah.
Just being right.
Something happened.
A lot of the time for me, Ravenclaws specifically are like a flavor, like I did with Scott from Ant-Man, where I was like, "You're just a dude."
Scott was that flavor. It was exactly the same for me with Scott. Exactly the same. Where I just went.
Well, Hannah saw it happen because we went and watched the movies together, and we saw the third one together. And she told me Hufflepuff when we were watching the first two. And in the theater, I turned to her and I was like, "Listen, I gotta tell you something."
Wait, do you remember, Lauren? You had went and seen it, and you like what you didn't tell me because sometimes Lauren won't tell me what her thoughts are. She wants me to like organically tell her my own. And I was like, I fear that he's a Ravenclaw. Like I fear it. And she was like, oh God, me too. I know he is. And the other big one was like Doctor Strange was obvious, but also we were like much earlier on in doing this. And I remember being very worried that Lauren wouldn't agree with me on that, and she was going to be like, no, he's a Slytherin. And I was like, no, I'll fight for this one.
Oh God, I didn't need to. He's one of my favorite Ravenclaws. I couldn't tell you why, because
hilarious.
That shit insane.
He's
one of the characters. Sometimes there's characters that I'm like, oh, they're very obviously this, and then you guys sort them, and I'm like, oh no, actually you're right. And he was one of those.
Was he? What did you think he was? A Slytherin?
I thought he was a Slytherin, but it's like there's a lot of characters that I will clock and then not think about it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Well, you just did this to me.
I'm not normally thinking about it while I watch them.
Right. Yeah. Rachel and I have gotten more and more crazy because she still occasionally does that. Like, I'm afraid about where you're going to sort them. And then I tell her and she's like, thank you for saying, and I was like, how would I not see this? Like, I just did this with Spike. I was like, why did you think that I would say anything but what he is?
You know what it is? It's when I get in my head about it and then I get attached to the theory of it and I really like it and I don't want to have to argue about it. Where I'm like, I really hope an argument doesn't come up because I like really want to
really
talk about
into this.
Like, I'm really into it. Like,
no,
like we're gonna shortly in a month or two you'll hear the our Buffy episode. We haven't recorded it yet because Lauren's still in her watch of it. But I remember putting this off time after time because I was like, if she doesn't land where I land, I'm going to be like actually deeply upset. Like it's going to really upset me.
That's how I feel about whenever we do Daredevil. Like I will actually be fighting you guys.
I feel
like already sorted.
Oh, I haven't sorted him. So
I know you haven't watched it. And I actually have to rewatch it because I stopped like midway through season 2 and now I want to redo it.
You have to watch the
new one.
Yeah, but it's funny when you have something that you're like really, really attached to media wise. Like,
when's the new one supposed to come out next year, right? Do you know when next year? Maybe we'll just make your birthday whatever that is.
I think they said spring or summer.
Oh, it's like so maybe it could be for your birthday.
But like they keep getting delayed because of the writer's strike filming.
Well, I told Lauren I don't care if Stranger Things 5 comes out by my birthday next year. We're doing it. Like I'm
so excited for that.
But that's one that you're not scared about. Are you not concerned that I won't sort them correctly? She already knows where I have Eddie, so I don't think she cares anymore.
It's not even that. Lauren, this is a show where they're screaming it at you with the exception of maybe like 2 or 3, where I would like to have a discussion, not so much an argument, you know?
But Buffy, they're screaming at me. Like, I don't...
But it meant, first of all, I was worried that we wouldn't sort the same, but I was also worried you wouldn't like it. And then I was like, well, how am I going to talk? I can't like, how will we go
understand.
on?
I understand. I understand. Yeah. Because before I was finally like put my foot down, was like, we're doing Once Upon a Time for my birthday and you have to watch all of it. Mm-hmm. Before that, Rachel had seen some seasons and was like, I don't like the show. I didn't really like it. I only kind of liked Regina. And she's like, and I didn't really like Hook. And I was like, no, you haven't seen the show. You need to watch it. I know you'll like Hook. I know you'll like him because I love him and I love you.
And now she's like a #1 Regina defender.
To be honest, that show came out maybe like 2012 or 2013.
2012, yeah.
I was still a Ravenclaw in my own mind. And I didn't know why I didn't like Hook, and now I know why I didn't like Hook.
No, but
I know I love him.
I was so concerned. Like, I visited her at the beginning of January, and we only watched Once Upon a Time. Yeah. And she was like, why weren't we watching Supernatural? Like, we were supposed to do that. And I was like, no, I needed to bring you through this because I needed, like, live reaction with you, and I needed to talk. No, that's literally how I felt. Literally how I felt.
You were really young when you started Once Upon a Time, too, and it got you at a formative point, and Buffy did for me, too. I was, like, 7 when I started Buffy.
So it's that young when I started.
I know you weren't. You had to be like
college,
17, 18.
I didn't watch it live.
Okay, but still, your high school, college years are also formative. But I'm just saying, in relation to it, it meant a lot to you. Buffy means a lot to me.
Yeah,
so
one more thing that I have to say based on that is Rachel and we are doing Vampire Diaries in October. So we will be watching that, which I'm very excited about because that was my formative years show. I've said several times that was the first like real TV show that I watched.
I don't know why
it was
I always
my sophomore
forget
year.
This about you and then remember.
I was a big name fan in the fucking Delana fandom. I had a lot of Tumblr followers and I was like one of the Delana blogs because I got into it like midway through the first season. So I was like there. And then I stopped watching after the second season, started watching Supernatural. But so they lost me. But Rachel and I have been sending, Paul does these like little live question things where people send him questions and then he gets to choose which ones he wants to answer.
Mm-hmm.
Them. We don't sort real people on this show. But I don't think anybody will shoot me in the face for saying that Paul Wesley is a Ravenclaw.
No one's going to shoot you in general. That was our rule that we made that we can break whenever we want. In fact, I want to break it. I want to talk about this.
And be like, oh my God, you're disrespecting Paul. Like, all you have to do is watch his lives.
Let me explain something to you. I have a parasocial relationship with who I choose to have one with, and you can fucking rip it from my cold, dead hand. And if I want to sort them based on my parasocial relationship with them, I will.
Sending these TikToks of him, like, talking to himself and answering these questions that he's choosing, where people are like, how's your Steph Wissy today? She sent me one earlier today, a convention panel, and she was like, oh no. She's like, what if when we watch the show, we get sucked into their world and totally drop SB? And she's like, I fear Paul Wesley.
I'm like, what if he gets me?
We also, let's just go balls to the walls. I think Taylor Swift should date him. I think they'd be really good.
I think she needs a Ravenclaw.
Even though I think that he has a girlfriend, maybe. But, she does need a Ravenclaw exactly like Paul Wesley. But I told you it's okay if she cheats. Like, I'm, in the Taylor cinematic universe, she can't do anything wrong. Can we talk
about how Taylor Swift specifically is giving me Speak Now Taylor's version for my birthday?
Happy birthday to you.
That's amazing.
And she's giving you Paramore and
Fall Out Boy.
Yes, because she was like, we have to do the Suino album.
Do something for Hannah's birthday. Yeah.
Dude, that's so fucking good. You're right. I didn't even think about that.
Yep. I can't wait.
What a good gift.
You're better than Listen, you know what? I know how you feel because I just imagine when Reputation TV comes out and hearing the vault tracks and how I will feel as a person and how I will be changed forever.
I'm sure.
Because I was telling Rachel this shit that she held back from Reputation was the shit she was like, this is too bad. Mm-hmm. And she doesn't care now.
Give a shit.
Nope. So
she's a liar. She gives a shit about everything that's ever happened deeply, and she wants us to go after everyone for her, but she can't get sued. So noted, mother. I will still attack John Mayer as is deserved. Don't worry. I got you.
I don't know if I actually tweeted it, but like once I saw that TikTok of her saying not to, I was like, I will be fucking dragging this man.
Yeah, I don't care.
On my birthday.
Exactly.
But
I'm gonna tell. Let's all tell Taylor it's for Hannah's birthday. It's not about you. We're dragging him for Hannah.
It's because Hannah hates John Mayer.
It's president of his hate club.
What a piece of garbage.
Next up is I'm gonna make one last. Next up, we're doing the second half of Nancy Drew. So we're gonna do Carson Ryan and Bess. And Nancy Drew is currently in the middle of its fourth and final season. It is the last hurrah on the CW before that network is in the shitter forever and will never return.
Just Bible stuff now.
Yeah,
and reality TV.
Imagine the WB, or imagine thinking about what they would be. They would shoot themselves in the head before they became the CW. WB was fucking great.
It was.
It gave us Buffy and Veronica Mars and Supernatural.
God, it was so good.
2012 era CW was really fucking great.
It happens to a lot.
And
Just look at the state of MTV. Like, what the fuck happened to MTV?
Yeah,
You know, channels eventually eat themselves and blow up, and it
was bought by a Republican Trump next star. Whatever.
I
So
don't know.
it's going to be Golf and F-Boy Island, which I'm mad about because I liked F-Boy Island when it was on HBO Max, and now I can never watch it again. So
never seen it.
Anyway, it was interesting. It was trashy reality TV.
There's so much of it. Don't even worry. I love trashy reality TV.
I know. I've got fucking Love Is Blind. I don't need it.
Hannah, do you watch Vanderpump Rules?
No, but I need to because you told me all that fucking drama.
Yo. You need to watch
Vanderpump. You told me all about it. You sent me all those clips. Anyway, so we're doing Nancy Drew. And even though it's over, it is complete. They knew it was going to end. So it's not going to end like Veronica Mars or, fingers crossed, because we said this about Supernatural.
Fingers crossed it doesn't end fucking Veronica Mars. Fingers crossed.
No, I mean the third season when it got canceled, not the fourth season when they actually planned out the ending. And also, we said this about Supernatural, and we were like, there's no way that they could screw it up, and they did. So I'm just going to put out into the universe right now that Nancy Drew's not allowed to do that. Their ship is heterosexual, so they probably won't. They'll probably be fine, but whatever.
Dude, you never know.
I'm a little scared, but Rachel and I haven't seen any of this season, so we're going to go binge watch what's happened so far, and then we'll follow it from there. But we're excited. We love Nancy Drew. You should definitely watch it. That's the last episode of July, and then the first episode of August is going to be the new Star Wars trilogy, because Rachel's been
oh my god
to talk about Kylo Ren.
I do not want to listen to you talk about Kylo Ren for an hour. I cannot.
Hannah, I already told her that I'm going to be the balance because I do not like Kylo Ren.
And
I'm not going to let it happen.
He's the worst character.
She's going to simp, and I'm not going to let it.
You're
I'm
nothing,
going to be the counter.
You're nothing but not to me.
I'm going to be the counter.
I know what I have to do, but I don't know if I have the strength to do it.
Rachel, every chance she gets is like, I hate Star Wars. And then these are the movies she's wanted to do the most.
Star Wars brings me the most unhinged motherfuckers in the galaxy, and for that, I am forever grateful.
She's like, I hate Star Wars, and then she wants to talk about Anakin and Obi-Wan and Luke for like 5 hours.
Unhinged.
Anyway.
They're hilarious.
That's what's coming up. Happy birthday, Hannah.
Happy
Thank you for joining us. You're welcome to join us anytime, and not just for your birthday.
Hop in.
Okay. We know you're also very busy.
Come talk to me about Kylo Ren.
Look at the schedule. Let us know if you want to. Haley is desperately campaigning to get on the True.
Are you doing Finn and
Poe?
Poe?
Decide how much we love her.
I think we are.
We're doing Kylo Ren, Rey, Finn, and Poe.
Can I just come just for
Hannah's like, hey, I've joined late to talk about Finn and Poe.
And then peace.
Then you'll miss the Kylo Ren, which I know you're so excited about.
And then edit it. And that's just too much.
Fine, fair. I am going to be insufferable, so
I know.
Fair warning.
Hannah, it's probably going to be funny. Like you have to give it
because I can't stand Anakin, and that shit was hilarious. So
wait, this will not happen with Kylo Ren. But the way that I was like, I had like a kinship with Anakin as another Slytherin, but I was like, he was wrong and he was a bad guy. And the way that Rachel totally made me like, actually, fuck the Jedi. Anakin was right.
All right. We're going to end it here. Guys, thank you for listening, and we will catch you on the next one. Bye!
Bye-bye!
Bye.
Thank you for listening to Sort of Brilliant. If our sorting choices inspired any rage or excitement, we'd love to hear from you. We're open to feedback, suggestions for characters to sort, and solid counter-arguments with citations.
Never forget your citations. You can find us hanging out on Twitter and Instagram at SOB_pod, or shoot us an email at sortofbrilliant@gmail.com.
And since we're not above begging, please rate and subscribe to Sort of Brilliant on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and wherever else you listen to podcasts. Please share our posts on social media. And if you're a Gryffindor, maybe you'll inspire sorting fights among your own friend group.
The theme music is Hot Shot by Scott Holmes. Can't wait to sort with you again next time. Bye!